Suddenly, monsters from another dimension appeared in our world, and along with them, chaos ensued. Humanity began to awaken powerful abilities. Well, everyone except for our guy here who didn't get any powers at all. So, he could only manage to kill small fry in the dungeons. But one day, his whole team accidentally ran into an SS rank monster, and he thought, this is it, I'm dead. But because you liked this video, the conditions were met. A god appeared, granted him the ability to devour others' skills, and sent him 18 years back in the past. Not only can he steal skills, but he's also immune to all kinds of toxins. And well, I won't drag this out any longer. Let's get started. In the crimson sky, a scene of total chaos unfolded. The space was filled with a blood-red hue, and a giant monster was roaring incessantly. Right there, Taehyun refused to give up and fought back, using every ounce of strength he had to cling to his fragile life. Both sides were locked in a desperate struggle for survival. It was incredibly tense, but perhaps at some moment, Taehyun felt a bit of fear, but after a long, grueling fight, he finally managed to take down this massive beast. Taehyun quickly wiped the grime from his face and let out a sigh of relief. He had actually managed to kill a monster with his own hands. Suddenly, a booming voice echoed, "Hey, you lowly human." When he turned around, he saw a scene of absolute carnage with monster corpses scattered everywhere. A sight Taehyun would never forget. The people right in front of Taehyun kept barking orders. "What the hell are you doing? If you're the porter, just do your job and collect the loot. Can't you see monster carcasses lying all over the place?" Their voices were filled with annoyance. "You think we hired you to just sit around?" Taehyun reacted quickly, "I'm sorry." But they didn't even care and just walked away. Useless porter. Just a few cutting words were enough to leave Taehyun frozen for a moment. The world changed after the Abyss appeared. The Abyss is the place where those monsters things that only existed in novels appeared. After the Abyss was discovered, humans awakened extraordinary powers, and with that strength, they wiped out the monsters and explored the Abyss's potential. Because of that, people were no longer judged by their character or effort, but by their rank and awakened power. If your awakened rank was high, you'd have a good life. Thinking about this? Taehyun clutched the crystal in his hand. However, that wasn't him. He was just a luggage porter for the awakened ones, a normal person who couldn't even open his character status window, even at the age of 35. As long as he hadn't awakened, he could never escape a life like this. He hurriedly turned around and shouted, "I've collected all the loot from this side!" But the sight before him made him freeze. Taehyun realized that everyone who had been here were all dead. Their deaths were extremely tragic. He still didn't understand what had happened. What, they were all... Suddenly a voice rang out. "You are the last one!" As Taehyun turned around, a giant monster appeared before his eyes, leaving him paralyzed. This monster was an SSS rank beast, Asmodeus. Paralyzed by fear, Taehyun could only grip his sword and scream. Asmodeus slowly reached its black hand forward. Everything happened so fast, he even lost an arm. Taehyun collapsed onto the ground. He screamed in despair, his eyes refusing to believe the truth. "Why the hell?" A series of subsequent scenes made him freeze instantly. "Asmodeus." The giant quickly pointed its finger toward Taehyun's head. He just stood there, still not understanding what was happening. Drops of fresh red blood trickled down. What's going to happen? What is this? Taehyun's eyes widened in desperation. How could I die like this? Instinctively, he remembered his painful memories. His family lost in a traffic accident, being bullied throughout his school years, and his life as a pathetic loser up until now. Perhaps Taehyun couldn't escape this cruel fate after all. And yet I'm dying, just a luggage porter. He started blaming himself. "You bottom feeder. What a cursed dog-like life. Why would heaven give me a life like this?" Awakened condition. Thinking about that, Taehyun gritted his teeth in anger. Drops of blood continued to fall onto the ground. No one knew what was going through Taehyun's head right now. It was as if these blood droplets were signaling what was about to happen next. In just a short time, a change gradually appeared. All the conditions for awakening had been satisfied. Bright white light flashed constantly before his eyes. Taehyun naturally didn't understand what the hell was happening. Realizing something wasn't right, his expression slowly changed. In front of him was a pure white crystal. Feeling confused, Taehyun turned his head to look behind him. But I'm sure the monster was still standing right there. Watching Taehyun's small figure, even though the monster was furious, it could only helplessly sit still. Looking closely again, Taehyun's eyes widened instantly. Asmodeus. It is stopped. Before he could understand what was going on, the god behind him spoke up. "Are you focused on the fact that Asmodeus has stopped?" Taehyun hurriedly turned back, reacting, "Who are you?" The god said things that were incredibly hard to understand. "Some call me king, but you don't need to worry about that." The god gently sat down on a chair in front of Taehyun. "From now on, I will grant you power." A series of these words made him freeze. King power. What is he saying? He's the one who stopped Asmodeus, right? While he was still deep in thought, the god quickly spoke up. "Being suspicious like that isn't good, you know." The deity gently reached out toward him as if silently controlling the situation. "The god appreciates your will and resilience, which is why I have come to choose you once again." A white light appeared, but you had best not think this miracle will happen a second time. Taehyun hurriedly shouted, "Wait, choose me! What on earth is this?" But it seemed the deity didn't care about his words. "Keep going patiently, and one day you will understand everything." The deity continued saying goodbye. "See you later, my key." At the same time, the giant silhouette of the deity gradually dissolved into thin air, leaving no emotion behind in this place as time passed. A sudden flash of light, and Taehyun felt something wasn't right. A voice echoed in his ear. "This guy, is he still sleeping?" Because it was so confusing. He slowly opened his eyes. "This crazy dog is actually ignoring us now. Should we wake him up?" A man's voice rang out, and before Taehyun could understand what was happening, he was slapped directly across the face. "Sleeping, huh? Are you up yet?" His eyes instantly went blank. Hyuk-soo grabbed Taehyun by the collar and scolded, "Oh my, you like getting beat up before you'll listen, don't you?" He immediately recognized the guy in front of him. Bae Hyuk-soo. Why was that bastard who bullied him in high school here? He kept questioning Taehyun, "Why aren't you answering me?" But Taehyun didn't care about any of that. "I was definitely just in the abyss, right?" "Wait a minute." He suddenly realized something was wrong, which made him freeze, his eyes widening in disbelief. It turned out the system information had appeared before him. Name Kim Taehyun, rank F skill, showing at this moment. He suddenly realized an important thing. The stat window. This is 16 years ago. If so, that means... A smile suddenly appeared on Taehyun's face. The group was still bullying him. Noticing Taehyun acting like a total lunatic and feeling confused, Hyuk-soo immediately started cursing. "What the hell is wrong with this bastard?" "He's lost it, you bastard. Do you want a punch?" The moment he finished his sentence, Taehyun directly took action. Seeing his teammate get knocked down made the two surrounding guys extremely bewildered. Hyuk-soo. Taehyun's face bloomed with a remarkably confident smile. It meant he could also... Tears of happiness flowed continuously down his face. Awakening time seemed to stop in this place. It was the first time Taehyun had fought back. He hurriedly wiped the tears from his face. Seeing this, Hyuk-soo's two accomplices rushed forward to attack. "Kim Taehyun, you bastard, have you lost your mind? You piece of trash?" But perhaps they had severely underestimated Taehyun's strength. First, he landed an uppercut, then kicked the other man straight in the chest. Now Taehyun could finally do the things he hadn't been able to do for 35 years of his life as someone who could not awaken. "I did everything I could, from daily physical training to learning everything available about the abyss monsters and knowledge of various skills. Even hand-to-hand combat, there is no way I'm losing to amateur thugs like you people who don't even know the basics properly." In just a short amount of time, the other two were knocked down by Taehyun, but thinking of something, a smile appeared on his face. "That's right. I need to start training again." Suddenly, a voice from behind caught Taehyun's attention. "What kind of nonsense is this?" Hyuk-soo, who had stood up at some point, began cursing. "What was that?" "Awakening Kim Taehyun, you son of a bitch." His eyes became completely enraged. "You're dead." The skill he used was Stone Skin C, hardening his body by forming rock on his skin. A stone hand quickly struck toward Taehyun. Naturally, he didn't sit still and gently ducked. This time, he could easily dodge every move he attacked with. Realizing something was wrong, Taehyun's eyes instantly widened. Hyuk-soo had jumped high into the air at some point, preparing to attack. The ground erupted with a loud explosion accompanied by dust and smoke. In the dark haze, Hyuk-soo was still standing there powerfully. But what he didn't expect was that Taehyun had already appeared behind him. Seeing the situation go south, Hyuk-soo hurriedly turned to react, but perhaps it was too late. Taehyun struck his face directly. Drops of bright red blood hung in the air. Taehyun was startled and confused. Hyuk-soo grinned triumphantly, looking at him with a challenging gaze. "What were you planning to do, huh?" At the same time, Taehyun also realized everything was far from the plan. He had hit him, but it had made him hurt himself instead. Because he had braced himself, he wasn't too badly hurt when Hyuk-soo struck back. but he was still sent flying into the large wall behind him, blood smeared all over his face. But he didn't care about that at all, as Hyuk-soo was still triumphantly walking toward him. If you're going to pull stunts, you should know your limits, right? You're awake now, aren't you? You damn unawakened loser at the bottom of society. What are you going to do now, huh? Keep running like you just did. Or are you going to wave your arms around with those awakening skills of yours? Taehyun's face suddenly went silent. He was lost in thought, strangely deep. All awakeners possess a unique skill and a rank starting from F rank, which is basically just a normal human all the way up to the elite S rank. These individuals fight in territories ruled by monsters, and their physical strength and abilities are exponentially greater than those of an ordinary person. The skill I possess is an F-rank skill called Predation, a skill that no one has ever heard of or even known about until now. On top of that being at the lowest rank, I didn't have a single chance to win against Bae Hyuk-soo, who is a C rank, but for some reason, Taehyun's body suddenly underwent a strange transformation. He seemed like a completely different person, calmly replying, "I don't feel like I'm going to lose to you," as dark energy swirled incessantly around him. Even Hyuk-soo was visibly shaken and confused, blurting out, "What the hell is that thing? No way. Did you actually awaken? But you're just Kim Taehyun, a total bottom feeder." At the same time, Taehyun was just as surprised as he looked at his newfound power. "Is this predation? I can feel magic flowing into my own will." While he was lost in thought, Hyuk-soo slowly declared, "I don't know what's going on, but I just need to kill the guy casting the spell and this will all be over." His massive hand swung forward, but it was all useless against Taehyun's current power. One could see he had completely changed. Back then, his eyes immediately widened. What the? Now Taehyun was determined not to repeat the mistakes of his past life. His eyes were filled with nothing but hatred, a look so intense it was hard to describe. Fueled by anger, Hyuk-soo just screamed with all his might, perhaps sensing something was terribly wrong down on the school grounds. The students who were laughing and joking suddenly noticed the commotion behind them, unaware of the thick clouds of dust billowing up. But just a few seconds later, the dust began to settle. Taehyun's solid figure stood there unmoving. Contrary to his calm demeanor, Hyuk-soo looked like a beaten loser collapsed on the ground while sweat poured down Taehyun's face. Accompanying this were constant system notifications. Predation complete. By consuming your prey, your rank has changed to E and you have learned a new skill. Stone skin? Taehyun's hand turned completely to stone, mirroring Hyuk-soo's ability. The scene shifted to inside the classroom where the teacher stared at the sight before her. She was stunned. Taehyun carried 3 male students into the infirmary, his face wearing a gentle, calm smile as if nothing had happened. But the scene left the teacher utterly bewildered as she shouted, "Hello, teacher!" After the fight, he brought the kids, including Bae Hyuk-soo, to the infirmary. Using his recovery ability, he told the teacher, "I'm healing them." Of course he lied to the teacher. She curiously asked, "How did you all get so hurt?" He helplessly explained, "We fell down the stairs, ma'am." Somehow she didn't ask any further questions. After that time passed, Taehyun quickly returned home. Sigh after getting patched up. "This is amazing. I awakened and even got revenge on Bae Hyuk-soo." The thing was, his face held a hint of contemplation. He could feel his current state. Predation. A rank that usually takes a lifetime to change had gone up after just one fight. It was only E rank, but it had strength surpassing a C rank. Can I really steal the skills of those I defeat who gave me such power? Why did he send me back in time? He had countless questions, but ultimately, he had one thing to do: learn more about predation. Taehyun looked at the small, humble house right in front of him. A happy smile bloomed on his face. "It's been so long since I've been home." Sad memories flooded his mind. After his parents passed away, he lived with his uncle. Thinking of this, a gentle smile touched the corners of Taehyun's mouth. He couldn't sit still any longer. He quickly opened the door and stepped inside. "Uncle will be home late. Should I look for info about similar skills?" But the next scene stopped him dead in his tracks. His cousin was still kneeling on the ground, and behind him were 3 giant thugs. Recognizing Taehyun, he hurriedly shouted, "Kim Taehyun!" Even Taehyun was surprised by this. "Cousin, why aren't you in school?" But the next sight made him freeze. Money was scattered all over the ground, making Taehyun furious. "Cousin, you bastard." Before the regression, he remembered that his cousin always wanted to hang out with bullies. He had stolen all the money in the house and caused massive trouble. The thugs behind him saw this and glared at his cousin. "Who's this guy?" Taehyun continued to recall the past. He never thought it would be today. While he was still lost in thought, the blonde thug suddenly spoke up. I was wondering who that was. Turns out it's the cousin. If you don't want a beating, you'd better clear off and pretend you didn't see anything. We're taking the money and leaving. Haven't you awakened yet? There was a hint of mockery in his voice. Hearing this, Taehyun went silent for a moment. Suddenly, his face broke into an incredibly intrigued smile. Perfect. I was just looking to test this. The blonde thug still didn't understand what was happening. What the... Everything happened so fast. He immediately struck the thug. The surprise attack left the guy unable to react as he screamed. This scene also left his cousin. Jang and the punks behind him were instantly startled, but feeling it wasn't enough. Taehyun reached out again, preparing to attack, realizing he was about to get hit. The blonde guy suddenly screamed, "Wait!" But it was too late. Taehyun managed to activate his skill, Predation, a look of intense excitement spreading across his face. Just as he was waiting for it to work, the system notified him that the Predation skill could not be executed. Realizing nothing happened, the blonde guy started panting while a bewildered Taehyun stared at his face. What the? Sweat slowly dripping down his own face. With Predation failing to trigger, the blonde guy couldn't take it anymore and kicked Taehyun, shouting, "You crazy bastard," landing a heavy blow on him. Paralyzed by the pain, Taehyun fell to the ground and the blonde guy, along with his lackeys, immediately lunged forward, cursing, "Die, you piece of trash!" One of them quickly used a C-rank binding skill, while another didn't just stand there and unleashed a C-rank poison attack followed by the blonde guy. He unleashed his ultimate move, a C-rank hemorrhage skill. Taehyun, having just stood up, was hit by all three skills in succession. Realizing things had taken a bad turn, his eyes went wide. The tiny single-story house was now filled with continuous explosions, kicking up a cloud of dust and leaving the punks confused as they tried to process what just happened. The blonde guy suddenly spoke up. "How does a guy who hasn't even awakened dare to pretend to be an awakened? Doesn't he know his place?" But the next sight made him freeze instantly as the familiar silhouette of Taehyun appeared right there. The system chimed in with a notification, "Detection of bind poison and hemorrhage skills confirmed. Successfully resisted due to mysterious power." Realizing the system's patterns, a natural smile suddenly appeared on Taehyun's face. "So it doesn't work and it can nullify skills at will. I have no idea what just happened." He locked his sights on the blonde guy standing in the middle of the room. 1 second later, he completely overpowered the guy in the blink of an eye. His face suddenly revealed a terrifying grin. "But I'm sure this feels powerful." The pathetic thug could only endure the pain for the next little while. Lost in thought, Taehyun looked ahead. "I guess I've learned 2 things by now. The status window can only be seen by fake awakeners." A series of stats for Taehyun appeared. Name Kim Taehyun. Age 19. Rank E Strength 3. Stamina 6. Speed 5. Mana 10. Debility 71%. Magic 10 out of 10. There were 4 skills: Predation E, Target Selection, Fake Awakened Mana 5, and Body Enhancement Mana 1. This made him realize something. The detailed information about fake awakeners was recorded here. Though detailed, it wasn't everything. For starters, he had plenty of mana to trigger Predation, yet it didn't activate. In other words, the description mentions mana. But to actually trigger Predation, there must be other factors besides just mana involved. Besides, the passive effect of Predation wasn't mentioned in the description either. That is, it resists and nullifies status effect skills like poison or hemorrhage. Thinking this, Taehyun became deeply pensive. Well, right or wrong, I'll figure it out eventually. More importantly, his gaze shifted to one side and he suddenly asked, "What are you doing?" Jizyang quickly knelt before him. Perhaps the scene he just witnessed was truly unbelievable to him. "Sir, after witnessing that side of you, I'm completely blown away. It's me, Jizyang, your cousin. I'll repent for my own actions. Please just let me off this one time. Whether it's licking your shoes or barking like a dog, I'll do whatever you tell me to." Taehyun was speechless, not knowing what to say in this situation. What a pathetic piece of trash. I knew this guy was slick back in the day. But who would have thought he'd sink this low? Well, since Jizyang has completely lost his dignity, woof woof, I'll just remind myself not to stoop to his level. Besides, there's still an urgent matter happening today. Taehyun quickly declared, then added, "Fine, I'll let you off." This news made Jizyang incredibly happy. "Really?" Before he could even react, Taehyun firmly stated, "In exchange, you're coming with me to get this handled." Time shifted to late evening. Before them lay a large construction site accompanied by a sign, "Restricted Area, Keep Out." The massive space in front of them left everyone stunned. Is this a gate crack? Information about the place appeared: Dungeon Gate, a phenomenon where monsters appear when a crack suddenly opens, creating a path to the abyss. If not handled, it will lead to a dungeon break. The team leader with glasses spoke slowly. It's been 15 years since I last saw a dungeon gate appear so suddenly. And the monsters are just swarming through. The blonde guy on the side quickly added, looking at the number of monsters, if we just sit here and do nothing, a dungeon break is going to happen soon. The short-haired one was very flustered. Should we evacuate the surrounding areas? He suddenly interrupted. No need, because I have my B-rank barrier skill. Besides, the rank of this gate is only C. That means the strongest monster coming through that gate. It's a grade C monster. In other words, even if a sudden crisis breaks out, the captain, before he could even finish his sentence, the monsters charged inside. It terrified the two of them. Seeing the situation going south, the captain turned back in a flash, and within mere seconds, he easily wiped out the monsters. His eyes turned unnervingly calm. Those monsters were huge, but to a grade B captain like him, they were nothing more than target practice. The scene shifts over here. Jarang ran after him, asking in surprise, "Wait, doesn't that mean it's safe there now? You said the control team was already on site, right?" Hey, that's a good thing, isn't it? Tae-hyun, annoyed, told him to shut it. Stop with the hey stuff. You're right, based on the preliminary mana estimate, it's just another grade C rift. The control team is grade B, so they shouldn't have any trouble dealing with a grade C opponent. Hearing that, he nodded repeatedly. Right. That's exactly what I meant. But Tae-hyun's next sentence made him freeze. But only if it really was a grade C dungeon. The scene shifts inside the dungeon. Corpses of monsters were scattered all over the ground, and 44 was still sitting there. Assessing the situation before him, he thought, strange. How could these low-level monsters tear through my grade B barrier? Could the amount of mana leaking from here be higher than my grade? At the same time, the monsters kept pouring in, leaving the blonde and the short-haired one in total panic. Captain, there's something inside the gate. The monsters are constantly invading this place. The barrier shattered. Everything happened so fast that the three of them were paralyzed. The monsters kept shrieking in the chaos. Realizing the terrifying monster before him, cold sweat poured down 44's face. What the? That's... Controlling the smaller monsters from behind was a truly colossal beast. The sight left the group frozen solid. It was known as the Giant Star Eater. Everything went off the rails. The captain couldn't believe his eyes. It wasn't a C grade. Something lunged at him, followed by a massive explosion. It kept happening over and over in that place. Meanwhile, Jae-rang was still pestering him. Let's just assume you're right. But this is ridiculous. How could you possibly know all of this? Tae-hyun didn't know how to explain it. Because I've already lived through it once. His voice kept echoing. Because there were no signs of monsters, they hadn't even issued an evacuation order. Seeing the guy keep asking questions, he quickly cut in, intuition. That made him freeze up completely. Tae-hyun didn't want to talk about it anymore. My gut told me so. Naturally, Jae-rang didn't believe a word of it. He kept pestering him, don't tell me you're trying to fool me. Suddenly, the two of them saw the monsters. They were attacking innocent civilians relentlessly. Screams filled the air. Run, it's a rift. Help me, while Jae-rang was still paralyzed with fear. Tae-hyun calmly reminded him, remember what I told you to do. If you remember, then do it. He hurriedly turned back to look at him. And what about you? Tae-hyun calmly replied, me. While Jae-rang was still dazed, the next sight made him freeze again. Tae-hyun refused to sit still and stepped forward. I'm going to take care of those bastards. I'll be right behind you. The scene shifts to the large building in the city. A man stood high up, looking out over the city, and slowly said, the situation is spiraling out of control fast. Just like you said, the gate thought to be grade C turned out to be grade A. There's no backup ready to assist because everyone else is busy. They're all out conquering dungeons or exploring the abyss. Now the only way to solve this crisis is... A grade A awakener, you're our only hope. Please help us, Mad Sword An Hyun-soo. This man was a grade A awakener. Mad Sword An Hyun-soo. But tears were streaming down his face as he suddenly spoke up. Everyone, please hang in there, your hero. An Hyun-soo is coming. There was something unique about him, the puberty syndrome trait. The monsters were taken down by Tae-hyun one after another. He didn't waste much time on it. The giant monsters were all handled easily. They were quickly flattened to the ground while Tae-hyun used his other hand to control his power. All the monsters in the area had been defeated by his hands. A very satisfied smile appeared on Tae-hyun's face. Just as I thought, the failed predation was due to the debuff level. The system notification popped up, debuff at 52%. He understood the crucial point: if the debuff level exceeded 70%, it would no longer function. Most skills were now activated. Based on how mana is utilized, it doesn't mean that's the only thing to worry about. There are 7 levels of fatigue, and this fatigue increases whenever you use a skill or engage in physical activity. The higher the fatigue, the weaker the skill becomes, and the body feels heavier. Thinking about this, Taehyun feels a glimmer of hope. Unfortunately, there are far too many things to worry about. I've discovered that if I absorb the life force of a dead monster, I can recover mana. If I can do that using my techniques becomes much simpler. The system's notifications kept ringing. The target's life is gone. Therefore, mana cannot be absorbed or recovered. You have successfully hunted and recovered your mana. A confident smile suddenly appeared on Taehyun's face. And the good news is the notifications kept coming. Your rank has changed to D. Predation upgraded from E to D. Stone Skin upgraded from E to D. Renaming the skills, he felt very satisfied with his abilities. The more I use Predation, the more I level up. At this rate, I could reach A rank or even S rank. No, maybe I'll become the first ever SSS ranker. After finishing off the monsters, Taehyun quickly turned around. Done. Should I head back to the royal? Feeling like something was off, he turned back in surprise. Without him noticing when did, Hyunsu quickly joined the fray. He leaped into the air ready to face the monsters. You filthy monster, I will make you pay for all the lives you've taken. This warrior of justice, An Hyunsu, shall pass judgment upon you. Watching this scene from the side, Taehyun was speechless. Hyunsu wasn't paying attention to anything around him. He kept attacking the giant monster, his eyes filled with indescribable rage. He poured all his strength into striking the massive beast. A loud explosion echoed. The scene was absolutely terrifying. Witnessing that spectacle left Taehyun frozen sweat pouring down his face. He can easily wipe out an A-rank monster. This guy is definitely an A-rank awakened. The one who handled the gate crack all by himself before I regressed. The berserk sword, An Hyunsu. He's as strong as the rumors say. While he was still sore, praising him, Hyunsu continued to gloat. You stupid monster, you just died by the hands of my sword of justice. His personality caught Taehyun's attention. And he's just as much of a blockhead as the rumors said, too. But why is An Hyunsu here? Before I regressed, I remember him having a bloody battle with a giant ogre on the other side of the city. He was still crying, hands folded in prayer for the miserable people, wishing for everyone to rest in peace. All of his actions startled Taehyun. The system checked for new notifications. Perception skill. Before Hyunsu could react, a monster behind him attacked silently. Everything happened so suddenly, it left him bewildered, turning his head. What? The monster suddenly wore a gruesome grin. Gotcha, An Hyunsu! The place turned darker than ever. The scene shifts inside a clothing store. Ji-young looked worriedly at the woman still fast asleep. She had no idea what a serious situation had just occurred. Thinking about what happened, sweat poured down Ji-young's face. Is this really okay? He remembered Taehyun's words, a lot of people will die tonight. At that moment, Taehyun's expression was incredibly calm as he announced that one of them was Kin, the school nurse, Choi Naeun. She will die while focusing on helping people instead of evacuating. You can use your sleep skill to put people to sleep, right? Ji-young nodded hurriedly. Yes. Taehyun continued to instruct, then make Naeun sleep and evacuate her to a safe place. I'll handle the rest. His eyes turned calm again. Back in reality, Ji-young felt confused. How could Taehyun know all of this? Or perhaps he seemed to realize something was wrong. He kept looking at Naeun, who was still lying there. Does that even make sense? But there was no other explanation, right, Taehyun? Boss Taehyun must have awakened a skill that lets him see the future. In reality, that wasn't the case, was it? He was still uncontrollably excited. Seeing the future? He couldn't find the words. That's amazing, I told you, didn't I? This is insane. Taehyun felt speechless. Too crazy. The moonlight was slowly being covered by clouds. Taehyun consoled himself. Everything will be fine. A forced smile appeared on his face. Damn it. Something is really wrong here. He felt something was off. Hyunsu was furious, clutching his wounded body and shouting, Who are you? Speak up! Seeing him standing perfectly still. Left the bald man, surprised. You got stabbed right in your weak spot and you're still alive. Surprising. A-rankers really are different, huh? Well, the hunt just got more interesting. A B-rank villain, this man with the fierce face was Han Asando. Skill Stealth B. Taehyun had some knowledge of these types. They called awakened people with criminal records villains. And among them, the B-rank villain Han Sando was a maniacal killer. When the gate broke and the monsters swarmed out, he went around killing people for the thrill of it. Taehyun looked at the scene in front of him, slightly dazed. But I'm sure I never met him before I regressed. Did the future change because of me? Sangdo's actions had completely enraged Hyunsoo. You bastard! You're a villain! I'll punish you with my own 2 hands! Just as he was about to lunge and attack, a golden light blocked him, leaving him stunned. The ground here began to shake, surprising both of them. It turned out the giant monster from earlier had fully awakened after that barrage of attacks. So that giant monster from earlier has completely awakened after that barrage of attacks. Having made it extremely angry, Hyunsoo suddenly becomes panicked. What? A giant ogre, Sangdo, on the other hand, feels incredibly excited. What top-tier regeneration? Truly a grade A monster. The giant beast quickly readies itself for battle, repeatedly striking at Hyunsoo with everything it has. Seeing him struggle like that, Sangdo sneers sarcastically. It's no use, I'll leave that monster bastard to An Hyunsoo. His gaze slowly shifts behind him. Sangdo has noticed Taehyun appearing on the scene. I didn't think I'd have an audience here. Perfect. The more prey, the better. Then while Hyunsoo is still panicked, he suddenly lunges to attack, his face twisted like a pervert's. No tricks now, just die. As Sangdo attacks, Taehyun creates a stone barrier over his body. You idiot, before the guy can react, he kicks Sangdo squarely. After realizing the situation, he hurriedly retreats to keep a safe distance. You bastard, so you're an awakened... Taehyun slowly speaks, making him jump. Grade B villain Han Sangdo, Taehyun says, feeling no fear but rather some interest. You're the psycho going around killing people using stealth skills, right? Lucky me running into you. Let's see how this goes. Taehyun and Sangdo quickly clash. Meeting a strong opponent like him makes Sangdo feel incredibly thrilled by his powerful, decisive strikes. Taehyun gently defends against the sharp blade as it descends, not hesitating to manifest a sturdy barrier, and so the two fight from one side to the other, not stopping for a long time. Seeing how powerful Taehyun is, Sangdo laughs, remarking, "You're pretty strong too. It's only natural to be this confident. Who knew this sword would be useless against you? I don't know how much you know about me yet, but you probably think you can beat me just because my attacks don't work on you, right? But kid," Sangdo's voice drops, a bizarre smile playing on his lips. "You should know that the world doesn't work the way you think it does." Seeing him vanish right before his eyes, Taehyun immediately panics. No way! Did he hide himself? He tries to stay on high alert, not letting his guard down for even a second. But he has to realize that won't change a thing. Annoyed, he turns around and announces, "Your attacks are still useless against me." But while he is still confident, Sangdo appears from behind. "Are you sure about that?" As he raises his hand to block, Sangdo strikes the wound on his arm, making the pain worse and causing him to freeze. Before Taehyun can even process what's happening, Sangdo laughs loudly, filled with excitement. "Do you know how many awakened I've hunted? Ha! You're all just a bunch of people who think your skills are invincible. Your weakness is exposed. You're frustrated right now and just want to run away, right? Am I wrong? Before you die, you'd better know this: every skill has a clear weakness." Sangdo believes he is completely playing this game. Taehyun's bright red blood keeps dripping to the ground. The long battle has left him incredibly exhausted. He looks helplessly at the scene before him. Who would have thought that stone skin had such a flaw? This skill doesn't completely block all attacks. A strong hit breaks the stone, and the broken part is replaced by a layer with less resistance. He had been aiming for the weakness of this skill from the very beginning. But just as I thought, I can definitely duel him even though he's a grade B opponent, because my physical skills are not just at grade D. After thinking for a moment, Taehyun suddenly speaks up. "Let's end this test here." These words surprise Sangdo. "What pushed to the edge so you've lost your mind? Grade B villain Han Sangdo, do you know why I wanted to meet you? What the hell are you babbling about?" His eyes widen in shock. Before he can react, Taehyun slowly reaches a hand toward Sangdo. "Because I want to steal your skill." Everything rushes through his body, making him freeze. This flow of mana. What is this sinister aura? You bastard! Have you been hiding your true strength this whole time? But it's clear Sangdo isn't scared of what Taehyun is about to do. "You fool, I don't know what kind of skill that is. But do you really think you can hit me when you can't even see me?" Contrary to his attitude, Hyun-Lee looked incredibly calm. "Didn't you just say that every skill has its weakness? I've already figured that out. After tearing through those monsters, I noticed something about a few of them. Countless times they've managed to slip out of my sight, but in the end, my predator skill devoured every single one of them." He continuously controlled the streams of dark energy, rushing toward Sangdo's body. Simply put, no matter where you hide or where you run, even now, he still didn't understand what was happening. Taehyun's eyes remained incredibly calm. Predator will catch you eventually. A wave of excruciating pain flooded his body, leaving Sangdo screaming in helplessness. His life was now completely in Taehyun's hands, and meanwhile the time had slowly shifted toward morning. Hyun-soo was still lying on the ground in agony. He blamed himself. Damn it, if that bastard villain hadn't ambushed me. I was the hero of justice, the invincible warrior. Even Hyun-soo couldn't ignore the death staring him in the face. Before him was still that giant monster. It seemed he was truly in danger this time. Not wanting to waste time, it raised its hand, preparing to finish him off. A loud explosion echoed, and the rocks and debris around them shattered. Sensing something was wrong, the giant monster looked a bit confused. It couldn't understand how in such a short time Hyun-soo had vanished. At the same time, Taehyun's familiar voice rang out. What the hell is this? Why are you lying face down in the dirt like that? That monster was too strong, I guess. Anyway, doing it this way is more convenient. A curious smile appeared on his face. Sunlight illuminated the gloomy city. The couple quickly opened their door. Stepping inside, Jae-jong was overjoyed and greeted them. Mom, Dad, I'm home. Taehyun also quickly asked, Sir, is everything all right? Seeing that both of them were safe, he felt deeply moved. Even so, they continued to scold him. Oh my God, we were so worried you'd been kidnapped by those monsters. Seeing that Jae-jong acted like an adult and replied, It's nothing really. They didn't forget to add, Right, honey. It's been a while since you've been home, so you might not know. But the house is a mess, like someone just trashed it. These words made him feel very awkward. No, it's nothing. Right, honey? Taehyun shook his head and replied, I don't know either. Finally, this place had returned to its normal state. On his phone was a new news report. Breaking news. A large portal crack has appeared. Reporters are quickly informing everyone. Breaking news. According to government directives, the warning regarding the portal crack has been completely lifted. Based on the possibility of a re-outbreak, the government has ordered the closure of nearby schools for 1 week, and news about the number of survivors is gradually being announced. The public could finally breathe a sigh of relief. The team captain was still confused and spoke up. It wasn't a grade C, it was a grade A. Na-yoon kept explaining to the police officers, When I woke up, I just found myself here. Finally, there was Hyun-soo. He helplessly announced to the press, Citizens, I am not the one who took down that giant ogre. The real hero is someone else. Reporters constantly covered the location where the monster incursion occurred. However, because the giant ogre's corpse had not been found and the whereabouts of the villain who attacked the citizens remained undetermined, the public was very worried that safety precautions might not be effective. Hearing this news, Taehyun was quite satisfied. Good. Lucky nobody mentioned me. All right then. A very interested smile spread across his face. He kept staring at the pitch-black tunnel in front of him. Time to move on to the next phase, right? His information was also clearly displayed. Name Kim Taehyun. Age 19. Rank D. Strength 15. Stamina 20. Speed 15. Mana 40. Debuff 5%. Magic 40 out of 40. Skill Predator. Dispredator. Hunt selected target. Mana 10. D. Stone Skin Body Reinforcement. Mana 3. D. Stealth. Looking at his own stats, Taehyun thought silently, Now I have 3 skills. Stealth D can hide my presence. Mana 5. The stealth skill is a huge harvest, but with my current level, it's very difficult to use all 3 skills, because using skills carelessly can drain my mana instantly and then increase my debuff level. That could be a dangerous move. And the best precaution for this is potions. These brightly colored items are mana and vitality recovery potions. Using them is quite difficult for Taehyun, but potions are quite expensive. I'll have to hunt to earn money, and to hunt I need a legal permit. He recalled what Jae-jong said to him. Actually, using skills without permission is already considered illegal. This made Taehyun depressed. I knew it, so I only have one choice to explore undiscovered dungeons. Seeing Taehyun's silhouette appear made the demons extremely surprised. How dare a human come here? How did you find us? Let's paralyze him and start the feast. This also startled him. They can talk pretty well, huh? These guys possess high intelligence. So these are the Grade B Spider Sisters, Taehyun muttered, looking at the massive monsters before him. They're not even high-ranked enough to boost my own rank. Do I really have to absorb 100 of these things? His attitude completely infuriated the monsters lurking there. How dare you, you arrogant little human! Do you even realize what kind of situation you're in? One of them lunged, maw gaping, ready to strike. The three giant monsters spat venom directly at Tae-hyun. "We're going to eat you alive. What do you think? Can you feel your body going numb and paralyzed?" Just as they were gloating, a system notification suddenly flashed, successfully resisted a debuff effect. Tae-hyun slowly looked toward them. "Just as I thought. You guys actually have some useful skills." Seeing the situation go south, the spider monsters shrieked, "Wait!" But it was too late. Tae-hyun finished them off for good. System notifications appeared, hunt successful. Successfully absorbed new skill paralysis. The scene shifts to the New Korean Players Association. Two guards stand strictly at the entrance of a room. Inside the meeting, everyone sat in deep thought, staring at each other. Jin-hui's expression seemed a bit strange. At the New Korean Players Association, Deputy Director Go Tae-guk sat feeling bored, thinking about the two most talented awakened players in the Korean Players Association. Players, awakened individuals legally licensed to use their skills for tasks like deep-sea exploration, clearing dungeons, and so on. Currently, these are the 5 strongest players in Korea. They hold the balance of power among the awakened. The biggest questions for Korean players involve the 4 major guilds, the elemental warriors and the artisans, the alchemists, witches, mages, the ones who provide and investigate information, the scouts and the authorities that manage players, including the 4 major guilds, are all under the New Korean Players Association. Thinking of this, Tae-guk felt a bit overwhelmed. Right before him was the leader of the scouts, an S-rank player, Lee Yui. She spoke up, "Long time no see, Mr. Chairman." Opposite her, Lee Jin-hui, the chairman of the New Korean Players Association and an S-rank player, suddenly replied, "Thank you for coming. I know you're busy. Did you find anything?" Her gaze turned cold. "You mean the Insidious Guild?" She explained that the Insidious Guild is a criminal organization founded by the most wicked of villains. Its members all wear golden rings engraved with 3 skulls. Suddenly, Yui pushed a report forward. "These are the recent movements of the Insidious Guild, and here is a list of the players they are targeting. But I'm sure you didn't call me here just to hand over documents, did you?" "What's going on?" Jin-hui chuckled, satisfied. "You're sharp as always. I want your opinion on this." She felt a bit intrigued. "My opinion?" He nodded, looking at the document in her hand. "Yui, since when have you been evaluating players?" She calmly replied, "Since I turned 19, of course." Realizing something wasn't right, she immediately froze. Her voice dropped. "Chairman, don't tell me!" A satisfied smile appeared on his face. "Do you think a high school student could face monsters like that?" Inside the cave, Tae-hyun had completely wiped out the monsters. His backpack was overflowing with crystals and gems. Tae-hyun quickly made a phone call. "Is this the Alchemist Guild, one of the 4 major guilds? I'd like to buy some potions." The 7-day school closure had ended. What did I do during those 7 days? Tae-hyun had thrown himself into physical training, strength +1, stamina +1. Then he continued his journey, clearing several dungeons. A voice echoed from inside the large building. "So much mana stone? This is one of the 4 major guilds, the alchemists." The group stared at the crystals in front of them, stunned. "Good heavens, this is insane. We will treat you as a super VIP client. Please, let's trade." This exchange was a deal involving potions, mana stones, and monster cores used to craft potions and gear. Additionally, his information had been updated. Name Kim Tae-hyun. Age 19. Rank C. Strength 30. Stamina 32. Speed 31. Mana 65. Weakness 16%. Magic 65 out of 65. Skill Predator. Rank C. Hunting selected targets. Mana 15. Rock Skin Rank C. Restrict target's body. Mana 7. This time, Tae-hyun had managed to increase his rank C level, but he still didn't feel very happy. The road ahead was still very long. He realized that in his current life, he still had to attend school. Seeing Tae-hyun's face, his classmates couldn't stop whispering in surprise. "Kim Tae-hyun, I heard a rumor that you beat up Bae Hyuk-soo's gang. Has he awakened?" Either way, Kim Tae-hyun is in big trouble. "Oh, you don't know. The situation has escalated to the point where..." Footsteps echoed from outside, catching Tae-hyun's attention. Suddenly, chairs and desks were thrown down onto the floor. The familiar figures of those fierce-looking lackeys appeared in the room. At the same time, Youngdae sat down with an extremely domineering attitude. He sat there silently, staring straight at Tae-hyun. Everyone quickly started to speculate. There is no way Lee Jung-ye would just let this slide. After a long silence, he suddenly spoke up, greeting an old friend. This man is none other than the S-rank awakener Lee Jung-ye. Let me introduce him a bit. He's the third-generation heir of the Taesan Group, the very corporation that sponsors Taesan High, the school full of bullies. It also takes us back to how things were in the past. Back when Taehyun hadn't awakened yet, he looked with pure rage at the group bullying him. The thug behind it all was Jung-ye, a smug, arrogant grin plastered on his face. He was the mastermind who ordered Bae Hyuk-soo to bully him. Back in the present, Taehyun spoke up slowly. "Since when were we friends? Shut your damn mouth." "Shut!" Unable to take it anymore, the 8 guys behind him shouted, "Listen here, you little punk!" Jung-ye said slowly, "Who do you think you're talking to?" He suddenly punched his own subordinate in the face, even smiling with amusement. "Can't you see I'm talking?" Jung-ye turned to Taehyun and drawled, "Kim Taehyun, I bet you're feeling pretty full of yourself after beating Bae Hyuk-soo, huh?" But he suddenly noticed something off. His eyes widened. Jung-ye's expression shifted completely as he used his power to suppress Taehyun. "You should watch who you're standing in front of, don't you think?" Seeing him flex his power like that, Taehyun couldn't help but chuckle in surprise. "So this is the power of an S-rank awakener. That's actually pretty impressive." Jung-ye kept on lecturing, "You should listen while I'm still being easy on you." Taehyun didn't care at all. "But you know what? I'm curious to see how you'll act when you finally meet a predator." Audio content produced by VB.VN. Just as he was about to make a move, Hyung suddenly stepped in to stop Lee Jung-ye. "That's enough! Stop it!" She calmly used her power to freeze all of his lackeys. Her sudden appearance surprised Taehyun. She turned to him and called out, "Kim Taehyun, and you too, that's enough." Things were getting interesting, making Taehyun smile with satisfaction. Clearly, the woman in front of him was no ordinary person. Kim Ah-hyung, class president, wealthy heiress, ES rank awakener model student, top of her class noble lineage future SS rank player. She has countless titles and is expected to earn many more. But things weren't going to be that simple. The problem was that he was incredibly stubborn. Hyung stared at the scene, refusing to back down. Sensing the situation turning sour, Jung-ye hurriedly explained, "What do you mean by that?" "Everyone here is easy to understand. We were just having a little chat." Naturally, she wasn't letting it go. "A chat? Then what about punching him in the face?" He tried to keep his cool. "Lim Hyung, watch that sharp tongue of yours, understand?" Audio content produced by VB.VN. Hyung didn't hesitate, warning him slowly, "I will use force if you don't leave. Shut up and get lost." Seeing both of them about to unleash their power, Taehyun was speechless. "The two of you are the ones who need to stop. Keep this up, and this classroom is going to get trashed." Jung-ye's eyes suddenly turned chillingly cold. Hyung countered with a sharp look. Seeing things getting awkward, he quickly turned to leave. "Fine, let's stop here. I didn't intend to fight in this classroom anyway." However, suddenly his power flared up. Jung-ye didn't waste any more words and attacked Hyung directly. "That's my line." Just as he was about to strike, a sound echoed out. Hyung didn't know what was happening, and Taehyun sat in the middle, still watching the whole thing. It turned out the sound was coming from the speaker on the wall. The voice inside announced to all students, "Attention! A special lecture hosted by the Players Association will be held in the main hall. All students must gather at the main hall immediately." The announcement repeated, drawing everyone's attention. A special lecture? Jung-ye looked utterly confused. "The Players Association..." His face turned sour, looking frustrated. He glanced at Taehyun and Ah-hyung, who were still on guard. A twisted, surprised smile crept onto his face. "Oh, look at that, you guys just got lucky." Jung-ye walked out of the classroom. As the door closed, Ah-hyung still stared at his back, remembering something. She turned around to ask, "Kim Taehyun, are you okay?" "I'm fine. No need to thank me." But when she looked back, Taehyun had vanished. He was already walking outside. He turned his head and reminded her, "What are you doing just standing there? Didn't you hear the announcement? Everyone is supposed to gather in the main hall." "I'm heading out first." Everything happened so fast that Ah-hyung was still dazed. This time, she really thought her eyes were playing tricks on her. A sudden thought crossed her mind. Is Kim Taehyun always like this? The scene shifts to the school's massive multi-purpose hall where all the students have gathered. There's a buzz of conversation. A special lecture organized by the Players Association. What could they possibly be teaching? Is it because of the recent rift incidents? Suddenly a voice booms from the podium. "Hello everyone! My name is Go Taehyuk. On behalf of the Players Association management, I am here for 2 reasons. First, I apologize for the association's delay in responding to the rifts and ensuring everyone's safety. And second," he flashes a very strange smile, It looks like he's planning something, and to announce changes for the players among you, those who hold the future of the association in their hands. Meanwhile, Young Ye is still feeling annoyed. Kim Tae-hyun, you jerk! Ah-young off to the side silently recalls everything that happened earlier. Kim Tae-hyun, I have to talk to him after this. Our protagonist Tae-hyun is still yawning away while the students are all focused on the multi-purpose hall listening to Tae-uk's words. It has the students' incredibly excited player tryouts. But what does that have to do with us? Don't you have to be 19 to qualify? So we can't even participate this year, right? He continues his speech. Perhaps you all thought so. But of course I'm here to make an announcement because from now on, this will involve all of you due to the recent gate outbreaks. And with the number of monsters in the dungeons rising sharply, the Awakened Association has realized we are severely lacking in manpower. So through these tryouts, we will start recruiting candidates, even high school students. This information shocks everyone. High school students, us. Tae-uk continues, high school candidates will be selected based on factors like skills assessment scores, academic records, and even attitude. Tae-hyun understands this all too well. Lies, he mutters to himself, these selections. They are indeed open to students, but the selection process is already underway. Through Go Tae-uk's skill observational eye, it turns out everything is already under his scrutiny. His skill is no small thing. Observational eye can analyze the overall abilities of the subjects he sees. If he focuses, he can even see their stat windows. After carefully examining their faces, a satisfied smile suddenly appears. Tae-uk is definitely silently observing everyone here, and the number of recruits he can get is much better than anywhere else. They could become great players. But the most surprising ones among them are these two kids. Young Ye's silhouette appears nearby. Ah-young isn't losing out at all. Tae-uk wears a satisfied smile. Chairman Park really did send me a list of promising candidates. Ah-young hands him a paper and reminds him, I'm only giving this to you because the chairman asked me to got it. He smiles contentedly. Who would have thought? There would be so many untrained potential awakened here. I'll go back and write the recommendation forms for the association right away. At the same time, Young Ye suddenly speaks up. Excuse me, Mr. Awakened. The remark catches his attention. Before he can react, Jung Ye continues. You said you were here to announce the player tryouts, but aren't there people here who aren't suitable for this selection? Tae-uk doesn't understand not suitable. He chuckles and speaks his mind. What I mean is, this tryout is only suitable for those who have the potential to become players among those already awakened, right? Isn't that right? In other words, I don't think those who haven't awakened should be hearing these difficult things. Strength isn't the only thing that makes a powerful player. There's also the awakening rank situational awareness and extensive knowledge of the abyss. To become a player, you must reach a certain level of complex skills. Saying this, Young Ye wears an incredibly smug smile. But in the end, those stats are only things they can achieve. Only by those who have awakened. And for those who have awakened, isn't that just rubbing salt in the wound? They don't have any basis to judge but his words. Hyun felt incredibly annoyed. Lee Jung-ye, did you really come all this way just to see if I've awakened or not? Self-correction dialogue split across lines. Seeing his attitude, Jung-ye was extremely excited. Well, if you've awakened, then prove it. If you've really awakened, then prove it. Unable to stand it any longer, Ayan turned her head and shouted. Suddenly, she recalled that rude jerk's condescending attitude. Coldly, he asked, What are you doing? I didn't ask for your help. Thinking that, Ayan whispered to herself, Whatever, I don't care anymore. After a moment of silence, Jung-ye continued his suggestion. So I hope that It will kick those unawakened bastards out of here, as soon as possible. This place isn't for them. At the same time, Tae-guk quickly responded, I understand your point, but whether or not they participate is up to them. Not wanting to waste any more time, he turned to look at Tae-hyun. Kim Tae-hyun, aren't you ashamed yet? How could someone like you be a candidate here? Or, do you not care about this awakening trial? His words didn't make him angry. You think so? It's true that without proving you've awakened, you couldn't even dream of getting into this association selection trial. But to be nominated, you don't necessarily have to show your full power. Time seemed to stand still in that place. Tae-guk was still silent, observing the three of them. The expression on his face gradually changed. Lee Jung-ye, that brat. He's an S-rank player, yet he's bullying others. How truly despicable. What did he say? Kim Tae-hyun. Why would someone as nameless as an unawakened person catch his attention? Or is it just pure jealous spite? Let me see what potential that kid has. A system notification suddenly appeared. Information could not be verified. This system message made Tae-guk freeze. What? Meanwhile, Tae-hyun slowly replied, "You're right. I've really been too careless. Why would someone unawakened like me even bother with this selection trial? I'm only here to be a burden to you all." Seeing him, he continued, "So I'm getting out of here." Tae-hyun didn't forget to flip him off. His voice was challenging. "You guys just lock yourselves in here and enjoy your wonderful little lecture." Young-ye was about to be provoked to death. "You son of a butch!" Standing high above observing Tae-guk still found it hard to believe. His observation eye didn't work on this guy, but even the chairman and Ayon, this has never happened before. His eyes gradually filled with disbelief. But why? Tae-hyun didn't care about anything else and turned to leave. This made him realize something important about this kid. He's useless. As he was preparing to leave, Tae-hyun suddenly stopped. He had sensed something. At the same time, Tae-guk on the sidelines kept receiving new notifications. Information could not be verified. It seemed everything was within Tae-hyun's predictions. His eyes widened in disbelief as he looked again. Tae-hyun looked like a completely different person. Time shifted to the evening at the school. Outside the hallway, the space was strangely quiet. It seemed like no one came to this library. Tae-hyun sat on a pile of books, continuously searching for information. He thought he would finally have some peace here to find what he needed. But then a look of interest appeared on his face. He quickly realized that the bunch of people causing trouble before wouldn't find anything here anyway, even though he had been beaten up by Tae-hyun Hyuk-soo and still couldn't shake his arrogant habits. "Young-ye is looking for you. Come with us." He remained very calm, continuing to read the book in his hand. "And if I don't?" Mentioning that, he suddenly smiled. "Doesn't your family run a restaurant?" Hearing him bring up his family made Tae-hyun freeze. This time he looked up at Hyuk-soo. "What did you say?" His voice rang out again. "Young-ye has a message for you. You pathetic bastard. Do you want me to make you suffer even more? Isn't she suffering enough already? Don't worry, we're going to drag you to where Young-dae is anyway." Before Hyuk-soo could even finish his sentence, Tae-hyun made his move. The atmosphere grew terrifying. The goons all collapsed to the ground while Tae-hyun gripped Hyuk-soo's throat, cutting off his nonsense. It all happened in a blur. Tae-hyun had suppressed him effortlessly. "I'm not going to ask twice. Where is that son of a bitch?" His voice sounded like he was ready to tear him apart. The scene shifts to another part of the school, the gym filled with various training equipment. As Tae-hyun arrives at the scene, Young-dae seems to have been waiting for a long time. The bodyguard notices and reaches out to inspect something. Surprising. Young-dae suddenly asks, "What do you think?" After a moment of silence, the man gives a serious assessment of the kid since he arrived. "I cast several debuffs, but he is an A-rank player after all." Honda Lee Jung-dae's bodyguard focuses on gauging Tae-hyun's current power. And yet they didn't work. With that level of status resistance, he must at least be an A-rank. Hearing this, Young-dae finds it a bit amusing. "As expected, you've awakened too. In that case, why don't we have a little chat?" Tae-hyun stays silent, showing no interest in what he has to say. Seeing him stay so composed, he continues walking over to chat. "My words might sound a bit rude, but I don't intend to fight you. Actually, I want to recruit you under my command. I'm planning to establish a guild after graduation under the name of the Taesan Group Heir. But even if I am a genius, I can't do everything on my own. You get what I mean, right? Not with talented people like that idiot Bae Hyuk-soo, but with truly capable people like you are right now. Kim Tae-hyun just be Kim Tae-hyun. Forget the hatred and come work for me. You'll have both money and fame. I'll make your family rich." While Young-dae was still feeling exhilarated, Tae-hyun slowly speaks up. "You talk too much. Recruitment, money, and fame, Lee Jung-dae, you've crossed the line." His actions cause Young-dae to freeze for a split second, though he quickly regains his composure. "I see. Just as I thought. A stray dog needs to be taught a lesson." The moments that followed. Honda slams both hands onto the ground, screaming incessantly. "Barrier!" To explain, a barrier is a skill that wraps a space in magic. People outside cannot sense the magic within. Simultaneously, layers of protective membranes appear all over the place. After finishing, he quickly turns back to report. "With this, no one will be able to interfere with the young master's fight. Now enjoy the battle." And just like that, the two were already locked in combat. Tae-hyun tries his best not to fall behind, but Young-dae's strength is far more formidable than he imagined. The two collide head-on with a punch. The force of the impact seems to explode. A few seconds pass and both continue to trade blows, but Tae-hyun seems to be at a disadvantage in terms of raw power compared to Youngdae. Before he could even steady himself, Youngdae prepares another attack. A loud boom echoes out. Youngdae flies back and Tae-hyun collapses, coughing up a mouthful of red blood from the sheer pain. The sight only excited Youngdae further, and he let out a loud laugh. "Do you realize the gap between us yet?" The two fought relentlessly without a break, forcing Hondo, who was watching from the sidelines, to pay close attention. As he took in the current situation, he muttered seriously about that kid Kim Tae-hyun. "I feel sorry for him. He has a high-level body enhancement skill and is an A-rank awakener with combat instincts and willpower that far surpass the other students. In this school, hardly anyone can be his match, but today his opponent is..." In the middle of the fight, Youngdae easily blocked every single attack from Tae-hyun, a look of pure thrill plastered on his face. Clearly, this fight is way too difficult for Tae-hyun. An S-rank genius. Hondo stood to the side, observing Kim Tae-hyun closely. "You can't win this match. You'd better just give up and surrender." Realizing something wasn't right, Hondo froze. While Youngdae was still attacking aggressively, Tae-hyun suddenly backed off. His movements had changed into something completely different. This time he lunged forward, directly counterattacking Youngdae. Their punches blurred as they clashed, but it seemed Youngdae's speed was still falling behind Tae-hyun's. His body slammed hard against the ground. Seeing the situation turn south, Hondo looked on in shock and confusion, shouting, "What? That's impossible! The young master is losing a one-on-one fight." At the same time, Youngdae collapsed onto the cold floor. But how could this be? Trembling with rage, he suddenly shrieked, "You bastard, Kim Tae-hyun! What did you do to my body? I can't move." Seeing him lying there motionless made Hondo gasp in realization. He can't move, his body enhancement not the only skill he has. What kind of monster is he? Tae-hyun's face broke into a grin of pure interest. Finally, it kicked in. He thought to himself, "What did I do, you ask?" Tae-hyun had acquired 3 total skills from Predator Stone Skin Stealth, and next the essential one, the essential, Paralysis. Tae-hyun hadn't used all his skills from the start. C-rank paralysis wouldn't be easy to use against S-rank resistance, and stealth was useless when being attacked from a distance. Predator was a last resort and shouldn't be used so blatantly. So Tae-hyun's plan was to wait for the right moment to use paralysis during close combat. Status effect skills were much more effective through direct contact than from afar. So with the combination of damage and the paralysis effect stacked with every punch, even an S-rank resistance couldn't stay immune forever. And just like that, a barrage of system notifications popped up. "You have been paralyzed. You have completely resisted it. Paralysis. Resisted. You failed to resist paralysis." That was the reason Tae-hyun could easily overwhelm Youngdae. He had been punched until he was in agony and sent flying. Tae-hyun slowly walked toward him as he lay there motionless. Everything happened so fast that Hondo stood frozen, sweat pouring down his face. He's a genius in one-on-one combat, too. He even surpassed the young master. Meanwhile, Tae-hyun had reached Youngdae. After a moment of silence, he spoke up. "I admit it, your strength is something else. Kim Tae-hyun, I guess I underestimated you. If it wasn't for that, there's no way I could lose to a failure like you." Suddenly, he gripped a crystal in his hand, and a second later, Youngdae crushed the crystal with a snap. A flash of light erupted, leaving Tae-hyun confused about what was happening. He didn't understand why the small Youngdae had suddenly become so monstrously powerful. Youngdae laughed triumphantly. "Let's start fighting for real now." Youngdae's power seemed to explode, forcing Tae-hyun to turn and run. He clearly knew it would be difficult to fight the giant monster looming behind him. Seeing things take a turn for the worse, Tae-hyun immediately leaped high into the air, turning back to face the beast. He was startled to see Youngdae still attacking him like a madman. His expression turned grim as he prepared to retaliate. The monster opened its massive maw and breathed out great flames. This made it difficult for Tae-hyun as he had to dodge from one side to the other. Even so, his strikes remained sharp and decisive. After just a short while, the protective barrier on Tae-hyun's hand shattered completely. A loud explosion echoed through the space. His body was blasted backward, and just like that, Tae-hyun crashed to the ground in pain, letting out a cry. The giant form controlled by Youngdae remained immensely powerful. Hondo, watching from the side, quickly realized what it was. That is the true form of the young master's skill, Flame Heart. Normally, it's hard to draw out the full extent of his power. With S-rank strength and high-level skills, he needs support. Just now, he used a magic stone amplifier created by refining a monster core. It temporarily amplifies the mana in the user's body. With that auxiliary stone, the young master can now use his full S-rank strength. The problem is, a look of concern crossed Hondo's face as he looked ahead. Realizing the situation was dire, he shouted to warn Young Ye. "Young master, you should stop. Do you intend to kill him? Besides, there is too much magic power in your body right now. Your blood vessels will explode from the violent, uncontrollable magic." No sooner had he finished his sentence than a fire arrow suddenly shot toward him. Luckily, he was quick enough to dodge it with ease. Young Ye's face contorted with pure rage as he snarled, "Shut your mouth! A mere guard like you dares to order me around? You, a total loser, actually think I'll let you off the hook for insulting me." Once he regained his composure, Taehyun stared in shock at the scene before him. Young Ye's massive form lunged forward to attack without a second thought. "Die!" Taehyun was now facing a grave threat. "Digest, you bastard Kim Taehyun!" Hondo rushed forward in a panic, desperately trying to intervene. "This is bad!" "Just as I thought," he mused. "He's lost control, his mind is in chaos. How is he ever going to break free from that berserk state?" Looking at the crater in the ground, he felt deeply anxious. "Kim Taehyun, are you still alive? Just give up and run for it." He hurriedly reached down toward the deep pit where Taehyun had fallen. "I'll hold him off, master, just hurry." While Hondo was still trying to help. Suddenly, a fist shot out, catching him off guard and sending him flying backward in agony. Through the thick dust, Taehyun's familiar silhouette emerged. "Around what kind of nonsense are you two spewing? You started this fight and now you're talking like that? I'm not surprised. I'll admit S-rankers are strong." A series of system notifications popped up. Fatigue recovered. Stamina recovered. Mana recovered. Taehyun looked slowly at his two opponents. "So from now on, I'm going to get serious." The scene shifted inside a large, high-rise building. Taeguk was still standing there, frozen. He didn't dare budge in front of Jingui, listening to the numbers just mentioned. They left him completely stunned. 1,900, 2,300, how is that even possible? Taeguk's face was remarkably calm as he nodded in confirmation. "Yes, Li Zhongye is 1,900. Lina Zhang is 2,300. There's no doubt about it. Both of them are S-rank awakeners." These numbers were hard for the secretaries around him to believe. Even for an S-ranker, someone untrained hitting a power level of 1,900 was clearly the level of an A-rank player. Does that mean he's on par with Japan's Saintus? We finally have someone in Korea who matches the Saintus. Hearing this, Taeguk suddenly fell silent. The Saintus. Audio content produced by VB.VN. A brief explanation of the person nicknamed Saintess, the leader of Japan's players, a monster with stats exceeding 2,500. She first appeared at age 19, shocking the entire world of Awakeners. Surprising, right? Even that monster only just crossed the 2,500 mark. How could those stats even compare to his? And he's only just started awakening? Thinking about this made Taeguk incredibly anxious. 1,960, he whispered to himself, wondering if it was a hallucination or a reading error. Regardless, not wanting to waste any more time, Taeguk quickly stepped outside, his face set with determination. "I have to check this myself." Meanwhile, on the other side, Hondo was still standing there, stunned and disbelieving. No way! How can this be?" He stared blankly at the scene before him. Dark energy was constantly swirling around Young Ye's body, all while Taehyun stood to the side. He was controlling everything. Hondo could only sit there, silent and waiting. Taehyun's power was so overwhelming that Young Ye couldn't even put up a fight. Seeing everything turn out so differently than expected made him furious. How could this happen? How could I lose to a loser? Like you, Kim Taehyun. I am the heir to the Tasan group. I am an S-ranker. You bastard, you must die. I am Lee Young-ye. Young Ye's shrill screams echoed everywhere. Taehyun gently raised his hand to block that sphere of power, finding him far too noisy. Taehyun spoke slowly. "Whether you're an heir or whatever rank you are, it makes no difference to me." With that, a look of intrigue crossed his face. He attacked again without hesitation. To Young Ye, it was clear that Taehyun had turned into a completely different person, and the sight made him freeze in place. Taehyun announced coldly, the power of a king as it hit him. Young Ye could only stand there, realizing his end was near, and terror took hold. A crimson aura continuously blanketed the space. Finally, that aura was gradually eclipsed by a brilliant white light. Outside, the school grounds were still peaceful, but a second later, that peaceful place exploded. After the blast, the area was left in ruins. Young Ye lay motionless on the ground, completely drained of strength. Witnessing the entire scene, It left Hondo trembling uncontrollably. Taehyun, standing to the side, suddenly commented, "That's surprising. It turns out in the final second, he managed to shield his master in time." Hondo could only look at Taehyun in despair, his eyes pleading. Sweat poured down his face as he thought to himself, "An S-rank player? I never expected Lee Jung-jae to get dragged into this." Even while Hondo used his predator skill, he thought, at least the master was saved. That's lucky. Hondo's voice rang out, "What do you intend to do now?" Before Taehyun could react, he continued, "The master is the heir to the Taeson group. How do you plan to handle this?" This really irritated Taehyun. Hey, who was the one causing trouble, huh? Try talking some sense. Besides, do you think I'm the type to be scared by those kinds of threats? Don't worry, I don't plan on killing him. Hondo was even more shocked to hear this. While he was still dumbfounded, Taehyun coldly declared, "Instead of that, you guys should pay the price for this kind of forgiveness as well." Hondo was confused, wondering what was going on. He had a thoughtful look on his face, quietly pondering, "Let's see. After all, being the heir to the Taeson group?" A smirk of pure excitement suddenly tugged at the corner of his mouth. This time, Taehyun didn't hesitate and blurted out a number. "Shouldn't I be receiving 1 billion in compensation?" Sometime later, students from all over the school quickly rushed to the gymnasium. They were only showing up to spectate. Whispers were nonstop. "Everyone back away. What's going on? Is a monster attacking?" A Hyon standing to the side immediately realized, this isn't magical power, this terrifying flame. It definitely has to be Lee Jung-jae's power. But who is he with? She suddenly recalled Jung-jae's personality. "Kim Taehyun, you little jerk, you were acting so cocky earlier, so say something now, why don't you? You're acting so pathetic. Save me, I know I messed up." Thinking of this made a Hyon feel a little worried. Could it be? But in reality, this was just Lim Azong's imagination of those two being together. The teacher saw the situation was getting out of hand and hurriedly intervened. "Look, kids, stay here obediently. Don't go in there. It's dangerous." When she turned back, Ahyeon had already rushed inside, leaving her extremely worried. Azang, however, still seemed indifferent, just staring at the door to the practice gym. "I think I was wrong. I shouldn't have left those two alone in the gym. This is all my responsibility. Kim Taehyun, please, you have to survive." But the sight that hit her eyes was the miserable state of Jung-jae. Taehyun was standing to the side wearing a very smug grin. Ahyeon froze, recognizing his face. Taking in the situation before her, she suddenly remembered something. Taehyun spoke up. "Just in time, I needed a witness. No, actually, I need someone to help carry him. Be a pal and take him to the infirmary. Actually, better yet, the hospital." Naturally, she was still confused. "Kim Taehyun, how did it end up like this?" Taehyun scratched his head, acting completely oblivious. "I have no idea. When I walked in, I found him lying there already. Looks like he fell down the stairs or something." Hearing this excuse made her go blank. "Fell down the stairs." He continued his explanation. "Anyway, I have no clue what happened, okay? Wherever you go, don't say you saw me here." "All right, I'm heading out." Seeing him about to leave, Ahyeon hurriedly turned back and shouted, "Kim Taehyun, wait! Explain this right now!" When she looked back again, Taehyun had disappeared out of nowhere. His terrifying speed made Ahyeon shudder. "That guy, Kim Taehyun." Sometime later, Taehyun sighed, looking out at the city, reflecting on everything that had happened. He felt a bit tired. Good thing Lim Azang was there to deal with that Lee Jung-jae guy. Now he just had to wait and see how the Taeson group would react. If nothing else happened, the incident could be considered resolved. Taehyun turned his attention back to his system interface. All his information was clearly displayed. On the screen, name Kim Taehyun, age 19, rank C, strength 30, stamina 32, speed 31, mana 65, charisma 5, debuff 40%, magic 12 out of 65, skill predator C, hunt target mana 5, stone skin. E strengthens the body, mana 9, stealth C, conceals self, mana 84, paralysis C controls the target's body, mana 7, monarch's heart, increases the strength stats of party members, mana 10. Taehyun felt a bit curious. What's this? Then the line of information hit his eyes again. Charisma 5 along with other skills. Monarch's Heart C increases the strength stats of party members, mana 10. Reading this, Taehyun was a bit startled. Charisma like a celebrity's charming aura. He wondered to himself, why would Lee Jung-jae have something like this? It's so confusing. Also, instead of absorbing the Flame Heart skill, it became the Monarch's Heart skill, which increases the strength stats of party members. Could Lee Jung-jae have had this skill too? But then again, this is actually good. Skills that affect all members are rare regardless of their rank. It can be used with many different skills and combined with anything I want, so the Monarch's heart skill is much better. Taehyun stuffed his hands in his pockets, feeling excited. This is better than I thought. While he was still rejoicing, strange black cars appeared in front of him. A group of people quickly stepped out of the cars. They caught Taehyun's attention. Simultaneously, the familiar figure of Taegu appeared on the scene. Found you, student Kim Taehyun. I have many things to ask you. Let's start with this. Recognizing him made Taehyun stunned. How can this guy be here? Ahyun's face became extremely irritated as she asked, what exactly were you doing in the gym just now? Go Tae-guk knows this man well. The scene shifts to the evening at a vast mansion. The man holds a wine glass, looking slightly annoyed. He concludes the matter. The only son of the family was injured, and 1 billion as compensation is the price to pay. You want me to handle this as quietly as possible, right? Angry barking echoes constantly around him. Hondo sits to one side, trembling with fear. He doesn't know how to explain what happened. It's my fault no matter what you say. Suddenly the man speaks, telling them to just do as he wishes. These words leave him completely confused, and he looks up. Yes, sir. It seems the man is quite intrigued. A cunning brat, very interesting. But his voice suddenly cuts off. We will compensate exactly according to the price for what he's done, won't we? A bodyguard steps forward, startling Hondo, who is left bewildered. Mr. Chairman, the other party is still young. This is too cruel. Even so, the man shows little concern and coldly warns, shut your mouth, I can't stand the sound of barking. He is the chairman of Tisan Group Lee Jung-soo, an S-rank player. Go Tae-guk quickly asks, just now, what exactly did you cause at the Tisan High School gymnasium? Taehyun feels completely confused. How could that be? Go Tae-guk. Why is he here? He wonders if the man is talking about the explosion when he fought that jerk of a rich kid. Or is it what happened when everyone gathered in the lecture hall for the awakened selection? He wonders what the man is referring to. He is a high-ranking official in the Korean Awakened Association. For him to meet someone directly is rare. This doesn't seem right. It seems he already knows what I've done. That's why he came here personally. I need to be careful and probe his reaction. I need to find a way to deal with this. Thinking this, Tae-hyun quickly explains, are you talking about the explosion in the gym? Wait, that incident has absolutely nothing to do with me. His words surprise Tae-guk slightly, who asks, an explosion? You're talking about the fire raging at the academy. No, that's not it. The fire department and authorities will handle that. I want to talk about something else. It seems you still haven't given me a proper answer. This makes Taehyun realize something. He isn't talking about that explosion. His voice continues, what did you do in the gymnasium at the academy? Taehyun's face becomes triumphant. So that's what this is about. This time he doesn't hesitate and retorts, I thought you already knew, didn't you? His words make the man freeze. What? Taehyun repeats, the reason you came to find me, isn't it about participating in the awakened selection process? Seeing he knows everything, Tae-guk immediately wears a forced smile. Interesting. Participating in the awakened selection, huh? On what grounds do you dare to claim that, not wanting to waste time, he quickly displays his power? Take a look at this. Do you think I have the qualifications now? The number displayed above his head is 5,214. This situation leaves Tae-guk and his men completely stunned. They can't believe such power. This power is even greater than last time in the gym. The strength reading is even higher. I really did pick the right person. This is absolutely not a lie. Kim Tae-hyun, who are you to have such power? Remembering something, Tae-guk asks in surprise, however, what's with your clothes? The scene shifts to the small, humble house where Jae-rang is extremely bewildered and suddenly shouts, participating in the awakened selection. Is that for real? You're going to participate in that selection? Taehyun continues his training process. That's right. The time remaining until that day is about 1 month. These words make the other boy panic so much he can't sit still. He rushes to kneel before Taehyun. I really didn't misjudge you. You truly are a king for this foolish younger brother. I feel so lucky to follow you. He still doesn't understand what's happening. What nonsense are you spouting? Meanwhile, Taehyun begins to fall into his own thoughts. Tizen Group still hasn't reacted to what I did to that rich bastard. As for Tae-guk, it seems his suspicion about my identity and power has been reduced. There's about a month left until the awakened selection day. Therefore, I need to focus on training to increase my strength a bit. If I handle this well, then everything will be resolved. His phone rings repeatedly, drawing his attention outside the modest house. A few uninvited guests quickly set their sights on the guards surrounding the target. White Assassin suddenly spoke up asking, "So this is the house of that bastard?" The Awakened Association actually sent people to protect him. This situation just got a lot more troublesome. His accomplice chimed in, "Maybe he's the one chosen for the upcoming Awakened recruitment, which is why he needs protection. The association cares quite a bit about their precious rising stars. That guy is the Black-White Dragon Assassin, a rank A Awakened. Black Assassin, your stealth and strength boost skills will be needed." Hearing this, White Assassin turned his head, surprised. "An Awakened with potential, huh? That guy? Even so, he doesn't have much real combat experience. Potential is just another word for prey for the two of us. He is also part of the Black-White Dual Assassins, a rank A Awakened, and the younger brother, White Assassin, his skill is Hidden God." Not wanting to waste any more time, Black Assassin quickly prepped his weapons for the job. "Well said. If you've got power but no combat experience, you're nothing but dead weight. The two of us will show that guy what a real Awakened actually looks like." When the brother turned back, he realized White Assassin was already getting beaten to a pulp by Tae-hyun. Unable to watch any longer, he grabbed his weapon and lunged at that bastard. "Who the hell do you think you are doing this?" Hearing that, Tae-hyun chuckled, turned around, and asked, "Me." The sight in front of him left him frozen for a second. Before Black Assassin could even move, Tae-hyun struck first a single simple blow. It knocked him completely unconscious. Looking at the scene, even Tae-hyun had to laugh, commenting, "I'm the guy you said had no combat experience, remember?" Rewind to a few hours earlier. Honda was startled, shouting in surprise, "Wait! You're asking for $1 billion in compensation. This is way too serious. I can't just make that call. I'm just a guard." "I can't make that kind of decision." Tae-hyun waved him off, signaling he understood. "Of course I know that. I'm not so cold-blooded that I'd force a subordinate like you to take all the heat, so go back to Titan Corporation and negotiate with your chairman. Just in case you decide to betray me, stab me in the back, or try something funny. We're going to link our souls with this chain." In Tae-hyun's hand was a First Awakened's Oath item, a method created by Awakened to connect each other through magic. In the event that someone breaks the oath, the penalty is triggered. His voice echoed, "My terms are simple. First, the Tisan Corporation will compensate me for the damages to the tune of $1 billion as discussed regarding this gym incident. Resolve this peacefully for the sake of both sides." Meanwhile, reporters were flooding the news with updates. The fire at the Tisan High School gym was caused by a gas leak, but thankfully no one was injured. It was all according to Tae-hyun's plan. Secondly, the phone rang incessantly. Deep in the woods, Honda quickly picked up, reporting, "This is CEO Hudo. I'm calling to report on the assassins sent to your location. Everything is going exactly as you predicted, just like you promised. If there's any retaliation from the corporation, I'll be sure to let you know." Back in the present, Black Assassin kept attacking with his weapon. But it was clear he was no match for Tae-hyun. Tae-hyun's speed had become incredibly fluid. In just a short time, he had easily suppressed him. Black Assassin refused to give up even trying a sneak attack. They fought fiercely. He tried to use every ounce of his remaining strength to strike. After a moment of silence, Tae-hyun suddenly spoke up, calling out to the two assassin bastards, "Your skill is stealth, right? But to me, that skill isn't anything special." When he looked back, Tae-hyun was already standing right behind him. Tae-hyun's expression was slightly annoyed as he remarked, "Other than that stealth skill, is there anything else you two are actually good for?" The scene shifted to a luxurious supercar. Ayun looked at her phone and started a conversation. "I heard they've made great preparations for the Awakened recruitment over there. Is that right? I hope they picked the best Awakened for the association this time. Do you have any hopes for who might be the strongest Awakened in this selection?" The rank S from Busan Shin Hyun-bok. Hearing that, Jingui suddenly replied, "Not necessarily. That person is also quite amazing, though. But I was actually hoping for someone else. Your younger brother." His voice sounded a bit excited naturally, leaving her feeling extremely suspicious. "What, my brother? You're getting your hopes up a little too high, sir. His real strength isn't at that level." Jingui burst into loud laughter. She really hasn't changed a bit. "No trust at all, huh? So who exactly is it that you think will make a difference this time?" "Who else? It's Shin Yun-sok, just like I said." Ayan glanced outside. That was the case before. But recently I've heard some pretty interesting new information. Curious about what this story could be, he asked her to recount everything she knew, excluding the S-rank Awakeners. "Well, there's one person the vice president of the Gotti group told me to keep a very close eye on." This caught Jingui off guard. "The vice president of the Gotti group personally recommended them." He noticed Ayan was surprisingly calm. "Are you curious, sir? Who is this kid that they need that much attention? For the Gotti group to personally vouch for them, their strength must be nothing short of extraordinary." Back to the scene. Taehyun looked at his own strength in a panic. What's going on? I don't have enough stamina to use the predation skill. The scene shifted to a dark alley in the city where the black and white siblings lay bound and motionless on the ground. The surrounding crowd whispered in surprise. These black and white assassins, I can't believe they dared to target someone under the association's protection, and a high schooler at that. This assassin organization is getting way too reckless and out of control. He suddenly remembered something. Taegu quickly turned to look at Taehyun. Thank you for calling and reporting this to us. Do you happen to have any idea which force might be behind this? His expression was strangely somber. A second later, he quickly looked away. I have no idea, he lied. Hearing him say that, Taegu stared at his phone screen. Now that the list of potential awakeners for the upcoming test has been leaked, we'll probably have to increase security for everyone. To avoid another incident like this, Taehyun thought to himself. It seems like the Tisan group sent them to assassinate me. I need to be careful with every move I make. I have to avoid trouble, especially since my predation skill isn't working. The top priority right now isn't dealing with the Tisan group. That can wait. Continuous system notifications popped up. Insufficient stamina. You cannot use predation due to overload. This annoyed Taehyun, and this frustrating issue I still don't quite understand what's going on. What does insufficient stamina even mean? Are the other returners going through this too? How do I raise my stamina now? And once I do raise it, will I be able to use predation again? But the methods for raising stamina I knew from my past life. Accumulating mana in the body by absorbing skills from monsters. Wait, I need to use predation to increase the mana accumulated from absorbing skills from awakeners. Realizing something was wrong, a surprised smile spread across Taehyun's face. It can't be. Is this the only way left? The scene shifted to a massive building in the city, a famous fitness and training center. As soon as they entered, a woman stepped out to greet them. This is the best physical training center in Korea. I'm Yura, the manager of the Blackhead Center. How can I help you today? Seeing this place? Jian, standing to the side, asked in confusion. The Blackhead Center. This is a really famous place. You need both money and real talent just to register here. Are you planning to train here? Taehyun walked in slowly. Of course. If I'm going to train, I need to find the best place, don't I? This surprised the woman. What are these two kids doing here? She quickly waved her hands, signaling to them, I'm sorry, you two. This is a top-tier training facility. It seems you two have come to the wrong place. Taehyun suddenly held out a card saying, take this and register 2 training passes for us. Seeing the VIP card, her eyes widened in shock. While she was still confused, Taehyun continued, that should be enough, right, manager? The manager was startled, thinking, this is a VIP membership card for the Alchemy Guild. Wait, the Alchemy Guild is one of the 4 most influential guilds in Korea. I never thought someone as young as him could actually possess this membership card. Could he be a high-ranking awakened with real power? It must be. That's the only way the Alchemy Guild would issue him this card. The audio content is produced by VB.VN. I guess it's fine if I just approve him for the training center right now. He clearly has both the talent and the money. Well, that solves my problem. Just as she was wondering what to do, a voice rang out from behind. Yura, are you having some trouble? Kid, don't think you can just register for training here just because you have money. Seeing him appear made Yura gasp. The strongest awakened member of the Blackhead Center, a man with a massive frame. This was Kang Chun, the steel-bodied B-rank awakened core member of the Blackhead Center. His muscle-enhancing ability and that ripped physique made Jesse and startle in surprise. Is that Sir Kang Chun, the steel-bodied, the strongest person at the center? Look at his muscles, brother. They're terrifying. What do we do now? Taehyun, standing to the side, didn't know what to say. He was truly speechless at that nickname. The crowd around them began to buzz excitedly. Look, Kang Chun, the steel-bodied, is out there. He must be out there to intimidate the 2 new recruits. Man running into him on their first day is just plain bad luck. After showing off his muscles, Kang Chun continued. Well, kid, seeing me this tough and solid, are you feeling dizzy yet? If you've got any complaints, come and tell me. Taehyun commented seriously. You look strong, I'll give you that. But you're not necessarily as strong as you look. This remark made Kang Chun's expression turn sour. What was that? Even Jang, standing nearby, was extremely anxious. But regardless, those words had completely provoked him. Do you think you're stronger than me? That, of course, went without saying. Taehyun didn't hesitate to declare, why wouldn't I? If you don't believe me, let's make a bet. The loser pays for the winner's year-long membership fee here. Taehyun's confidence only made Kang Chun more excited. This kid is interesting, I like that. If you want to throw your money away, I won't say no. The space opened up, revealing a place swarming with monsters. Both of them finally appeared inside. Now go ahead and prove it. Their presence was entirely controlled by the simulation. The crowd watching cheered and shouted. Jang, lost in the crowd, asked in confusion, "Is this the abyss?" Yura explained, "This is an illusionary space, a machine that creates projections to help the center's awakened train." That made him jump slightly. A virtual illusion machine. What Taehyun was sitting on was a virtual Potter, a VR machine. It was a way for Awakened to train by facing monsters. The dungeon test environment was simple enough. The monsters were preset. They had to clear the B-rank monsters and reach the finish line as fast as possible. Yura continued, "This is the most basic form of competition for Awakened. It has many advantages over other training methods. But today it seems that the new kid is at a disadvantage compared to Kang Chun, since he's so used to this training model." Not wasting any time, Kang Chun quickly shouted, "Come on, you foolish brat! You dare bet against me? You're going to lose today for sure. With these powerful muscles, my strikes against these B-rank monsters are like a breeze. The agility of every step I take is an advantage you don't have in this virtual game. With my body as hard as cold steel, my tackles against these monsters hit like a truck. I'm going to cruise to the finish line. That year of membership fees is going to be mine." Suddenly realizing something was wrong, he turned around in surprise. In just a short amount of time, all the monsters around him had been taken down. Taehyun's speed was incredibly fast. While everyone stood frozen in shock, he kept charging straight toward the oncoming monsters. These monsters are no match for Taehyun. He can effortlessly stand his ground and kick away those pathetic creatures that keep rushing at him for nothing. With one decisive kick, a crowd of monsters goes flying, crashing into the ground as the battle in this place intensifies. Taehyun finds it increasingly thrilling. He loves the look of hatred in the monsters' eyes. Everything is happening so fast the counter is already hitting 999 right in front of Kang Chun. This leaves him frozen, completely unsure of what to do. Before he can even react, Taehyun calmly announces, "Actually, I only planned on training here for 30 days. With the weight I've managed to carry here, it seems to be much more than what you've got." Kang Chun, tough as steel, sees him standing there. "You must be surprised, right? This bet seems to be settled now. Isn't that right?" A system notification pops up and Taehyun chuckles, reminding him, "Now pay up and stop acting so arrogant." Inside the massive stadium, the announcer's voice echoes continuously, "Welcome everyone! It has been 30 days since registration opened. Today is the day we have all been waiting for, the official assessment for the Awakened. There have been some minor adjustments, mainly from the association. The association wants everyone to have a chance to prove their potential, so minors who feel they have the strength are also welcome to participate. Today, people from all over South Korea have gathered here. They are all here to showcase their power, including several highly rated candidates: Iron Fist Champion, the melee expert with perfect technique, Hong Jung-uk Class A; Chris the Forest Spirit with top-tier recovery and combat skills, Lee Ji-san Class A, the Pride of Busan; and the Lightning Saint Shim Yun-seop Class S, the one everyone hopes. I will achieve the highest score in this exam. The rising star of the Korea Awakened Association, Lim Orang Class S, along with many other Awakened whose power we have yet to even calculate." The crowd ahead makes the woman extremely anxious as she laments, "It's still so far away, I'm going to be late. If I don't get the latest scoop on this event, I'm going to lose my job." She is an intern reporter for Sea Economy reporter Kim, skilled in computer basics 10-finger typing and eager to interview and find potential Awakened. Looking at the swarm of people ahead, she feels incredibly discouraged. "There are so many people I can't even get in. I have to find someone who looks promising and get a few photos and an interview right. Being a fresh graduate is so tough, and I'm probably going to blow this job." At the same time, Taehyun is slowly walking toward the entrance. The scene in front of him surprises him too as he mutters, "Why are there so many people? How am I supposed to get in and register?" Audio content produced by VB.VN. Hearing his words, reporter Kim's eyes widen. "A contestant." Taehyun sighs and keeps walking forward. What a hassle. Even so, he has no intention of quitting. He is participating as Kim Taehyun Class C. Suddenly, reporter Kim calls out to him, grabbing his attention. "Hey, can I interview you for a second?" The stadium is incredibly lively. The program coordinator rushes over and announces, "Contestant Kim Taehyun this way." There is only 1 minute left until the assessment starts. Taehyun sighs, complaining, "Your sudden interview is the reason I'm running late." Of course, reporter Kim is someone who spends a lot of time doing interviews. Remembering his next step, a satisfied smile spreads across his face. After all, he has to build an image first. The area is unbelievably crowded. Everyone is waiting in line for their turn. Even this large room is built solidly and securely. The sight before them makes everyone turn their heads in surprise as the familiar figure of Arang appears right there. Audio content produced by VB.VN. But noticing something wasn't quite right, Taehyun looks over to his side. Her eyes immediately widen to the max. Kim Taehyun. He, however, remains unusually calm. What's wrong, class president? She still can't believe the reality before her eyes. What happened to your body? Taehyun calmly explains, me just did a little training, that's all. Realizing his massive physique, Arang is bewildered. You call this a little, I heard you awakened, but can someone really change this much in just 1 month? Suddenly remembering something, Arang continues asking, hey, about what happened with Lee Jung-yo. Before she can finish, the program's announcement echoes once again. You who carry the heavy responsibility. Of the future of South Korea, welcome to today's selection. This is the first challenge to choose the official candidates for the Awakened. Now I will explain the rules. Look at the number on your chests. Those are your registration numbers. The requirement for this round is to collect 5 registration numbers, including your own. Losing your number means you are disqualified. This is a battle for the registration numbers. You only have 1 hour for this round. The ground began to shake, leaving the participants completely bewildered, while the referee announced that everyone is now permitted to use all of their skills. Except for killing, of course, many were still confused, asking, what on earth is going on? The terrain and the space around them were shifting, and in his excitement, the referee shouted, the first round has officially begun. Now everyone must follow the rules. All eyes were on Arang, who was still standing perfectly still. The crowd went wild as they watched Limarang and S-Rank Awakener. If you don't want to get attacked, go find your targets. Without a word, she raised her hand ready to act. Suddenly, she created a barrier of crystallized ice, forcing many others to struggle as they watched everything through the thick, frosty glass. The judges kept whispering amongst themselves, as expected of someone dubbed a saintess. Her skills are excellent, and the other contestants are quite formidable as well. The strength of this year's batch is far superior to the previous ones. Among them, the one everyone is looking forward to most is the S-Rank from Busan Shin Unbok. The first round has been going on for 20 minutes now. The others can't even get close to him, let alone land an attack. It's truly astonishing. Limarang and Shin Yunbok are both leagues ahead of Taeguk, who was lost in his own thoughts. Of course, everyone is obsessed with rank. But I've spotted another dark horse, Kim Taehyun. Someone like you should breeze through this test. Right? Show everyone what you've got. Kim Taehyun, his strength. Everything but seeing it right in front of him, Taehyun fighting someone one-on-one left him completely stunned. What is this? What's going on? Taeguk's expression slowly shifted, turning strange. The person Taehyun was fighting was an A-rank awakener, Hong Jung-uk. He was using his skill and had completely immersed himself in his own character, C-rank awakener. Kim Taehyun was using Stone Skin. Seeing Taehyun's current ability, Taeguk couldn't hide his surprise. Did I misjudge Kim Taehyun's potential? He was being held back by an A-rank awakener and couldn't even dodge a single hit. Sweat poured down his face. Wait, he isn't dodging anything. Could it be? It seems he finally realized something. Meanwhile, a cocky smirk appeared on Taehyun's face on the screen. A loud boom echoed as sprays of red syrup splattered into the air and Taehyun's body was knocked backward. Before he could even react, Jung-uk gloated, "Hey kid, are you looking down on me? Stone Skin is just a low-tier version of Steel Skin. You didn't dare face me head-on and try to distract me." Just as he was still gloating, Taehyun suddenly cut him off. "Seriously, you talk way too much." Those words caught Jung-uk off guard. It was as if Taehyun had completely transformed into a different person. That's exactly why it has meaning. System notifications flooded in, stamina +1, charisma +1. Not wanting to waste a second, he lunged forward. After a month of training, the marks of gluttony still remained. His abilities were still lacking, so he raised his strength through training, pushing his body's endurance to the absolute limit. A battle approaching its breaking point, and finally, the training wasn't over yet. Taehyun's punches became incredibly powerful. Both sides fought fiercely, neither willing to yield. The training isn't over yet, even though he was covered in syrup. Taehyun looked thrilled. In pure agony, Jung-uk suddenly screamed, "You monster!" With that, he collapsed onto the cold ground. Taehyun grabbed the registration tag from him with a grin. C-rank awakener, Kim Taehyun, current tags 2. This scene made Taeguk burst into wild laughter. He probably found this whole thing incredibly entertaining. As expected, he's no ordinary guy. The people around him discussed, Vice Director Go seems really happy. It looks like this year's contestants have great potential, huh? He kept watching Taehyun's silhouette on the screen. In this massive, large-scale survival game, Kim Taehyun, this kind of audacity. But the problem now is that his power levels have been heavily drained after that fight. He should be saving his stamina and collecting tags from the weaker ones right now. But the next scene immediately left Taeguk stunned and bewildered. At the same time, the judges pointed at the screen. Who is that? An A-rank awakener. Does he not know who his opponent is? Or is he trying to get himself eliminated? Taehyun stood there slowly. Facing the next powerful man, seeing Taehyun appear before him, Eunbok looked a bit surprised. What do you want? He was the S-rank awakener Shin Eun-bok with 147 tags. Looking at Taehyun's current state, he suddenly asked, Hey, just how many tags do you have anyway? 128, whatever, he said with an excited smile. 5 more and I'll have enough. A loud explosion erupted. It looked like the battle was about to begin with blinding speed. The scene left everyone watching in total shock. Eunbok launched a direct assault on Taehyun, appearing incredibly confident in his own abilities. His overwhelming power caught Taehyun off guard before he could even regroup. But Taehyun's legs still formed a solid defensive barrier, and this time he spun around to strike back at Eunbok, hoping for a chance to turn the tables, but suddenly the barrier on his legs was shattered instantly under Eunbok's pressure. Before Taehyun could even process what happened, Eunbok laughed and praised him. Not bad, you've actually got some real talent. A look of pure excitement crossed his face. That last move was pretty quick, wasn't it? The place turned chaotic with loud explosions. Thankfully, Taehyun managed to retreat just in time to keep a safe distance, and he suddenly realized who was standing before him. He was stunned, thinking, so this guy is Busan's S-rank awakened, the thunder god Sim Eunbok. This situation is looking grim. I've truly met my match this time. With those bolts of lightning crackling all around his body, most of my attacks are being completely nullified. On top of that, his attacks are fast, and that lightning effect can even leave me slightly stunned. In this position, how can I possibly pierce through his defense? I've already been through such a brutal fight earlier, and I still can't use predation yet. While he was still calculating his next move, Eunbok spoke up suddenly. What's wrong? You seem less aggressive than before. Maybe I should warm up a bit first. Noticing Eunbok coming at him again, Taehyun was startled. He didn't even know when. His figure had already appeared right in front of him. Luckily, his reflexes were sharp enough that Taehyun managed to dodge easily. At the same time, he sidestepped to avoid Eunbok's kick. His opponent's reactions were lightning fast, following up with a barrage of punches. And so, Eunbok and Taehyun fought from one side of the arena to the other. The more intense the fight became, the more excited Eunbok grew. Where are you running off to, kid? Why are you looking for an escape before the fight is even over? As they clashed head-on, Taehyun couldn't help but scream out, and his shouts only made Eunbok more certain of his own victory. How's that feeling, the numbness after taking one of my Thunder God strikes? Huh, if you can't win, just hand over all your ID cards now and save yourself the pain. While Eunbok was gloating, Taehyun gritted his teeth and decided to put everything into a final punch, rushing forward to retaliate. But sadly, it was completely useless against Eunbok. You're too stubborn for your own good. A blinding white light flashed, forcing everyone to shield their eyes. Taehyun quickly covered his eyes, but the scene that followed left him in total disbelief. Somehow Eunbok had jumped into the air. He was preparing his finishing move, his fingers nimbly controlling every little detail. Only then did Taehyun realize his life was in danger. A powerful bolt of lightning struck down from above directly onto his body. The immense pressure made him scream out in agony, clutching his head. Seeing this, Eunbok laughed, genuinely surprised. To be able to endure even this much? I'll admit you really do have some guts. Even so, his face still wore an excited grin. These guys are just so stubborn. They don't give up even after being beaten like this. Anyone else would have run away and dropped their cards by now. In this tournament, I thought the only real threats were the Ice Queen Lim A-Rang and the Forest God Lee Ji-san. I never expected some random guy to pop up out of nowhere who's actually this good. But you know what? That's fine too. As long as he keeps holding on like this, he'll just make for an entertaining toy for me to play with. While Eunbok was still acting relaxed, suddenly something flew forward at high speed. Before he could even react, the object smashed straight into his face. Eunbok was shocked and scrambled to look forward. He quickly spun around, realizing Taehyun was behind him. But what is this? What just happened? How is that possible? Did he throw something at me? How? How could that attack penetrate my lightning armor defenses? By the time he realized it, it was too late. Taehyun unleashed a relentless barrage of skills, hitting him over and over. Eunbok couldn't even counterattack. Thinking back to the skill Taehyun used earlier, Unbok became suspicious. How could a stone skin type skill possibly pierce through my lightning armor? I'd understand if any normal rock shattered upon contact with the lightning. This is the unexpected variable that Sim Yunbok never accounted for. In the battles of these awakened, anything can happen, and there are always variables you can't predict. The materials used to build this arena are made of special compounds designed to resist the powers of the awakened. They might look like mere stones, but their essence is completely different. Because I used that as a weapon to attack him, I was able to bypass his lightning armor. Looks like you're pretty surprised now, aren't you? Enraged Yoon suddenly shrieked at the top of his lungs, "You conniving little lowlife!" But it was already too late. Taehyun struck without a hint of hesitation. "You might have some decent skills, but you're still not worthy of being my opponent." And just like that, Hyunbo was sent flying in agony, his identification badges scattering instantly. Seeing his success, Taehyun was ecstatic. A massive explosion echoed as the space in front of everyone shattered. The crowd gathered buzzing with intense debate. Wait, what just happened? How did an S-rank awakened lose to a C-rank? That guy Kim Taehyun. How on earth did he pull off a win? This made Taeguk standing to the side chuckle with amusement. Incredible. He actually used the arena's own terrain to take down the Thunder God in this duel. Realizing something was off, his expression clouded with unease. Taehyun slowly picked up the badges, observing them. Right, so I managed to quite a few registration cards now. Now I can finally rest easy, knowing I've cleared this round of the competition. But just then, something came hurtling toward Taehyun. Thankfully, his reflexes were lightning fast, and he leapt into the air while the crowd nearby screamed in terror. His face showed pure shock as he quickly realized it was ice. When Taehyun looked up, a layer of ice had appeared overhead out of nowhere. This ice was relentlessly sweeping across everything in the area. At the same time, a crystalline film rapidly enveloped the space. Taehyun's eyes went wide, clearly still trying to process what was happening. This space was rapidly uncrystallizing into a solid sheet of ice. An icy chill washed over everyone, making them shiver. The crowd held their breath, waiting to see what would unfold next. Finally, the familiar silhouette of Arang appeared before Taehyun. No one could quite read the expression on her face right now. Naturally, Taehyun didn't have a clue what the hell was going on, but her face was deadly serious, catching his attention. Is that the Ice Queen Kim Arang? Arang's actions left Taehyun utterly bewildered. Was she actually planning to fight him here? I already used up way too much stamina fighting the Thunder God just now. I don't even know when she started watching me. While he was unsure of what to do, she suddenly spoke up. Follow me. The greater the power, the greater the responsibility. Having power and strength without taking responsibility for your actions, that's just plain violence. I've been watching your last match. I'll admit you're quite strong, Kim Taehyun. You actually knew how to use this arena to your advantage to win. Against Shin Hyunbo this time, Taehyun couldn't hide his confusion. Why are you suddenly saying all that? Arang's face turned visibly annoyed as she remarked, It seems like Lee Jung-jae. She was also taken down by you in a similar way, wasn't he? Her words made Taehyun realize the situation had turned sour. He couldn't just stand still anymore. He instantly took to the air, but Arang's expression didn't change in the slightest. A massive boom echoed and the scene descended into chaos. Knowing he was no match for Arang, Taehyun scrambled to turn and bolt. This is bad. She's locked onto me as her target for this match. There's no way I can dodge her in an arena like this. Before he could make his escape, Arang lunged straight at him. Her sudden appearance left him speechless, not knowing what to do. But her eyes were fierce and unwavering as she shouted, Where do you think you're running off to? Face me with everything you've got. Just like you said. You're different from arrogant jerks like Lee Jung-jae, right? You wouldn't do anything against your own conscience just to get what you want, would you? But when I watched you fight in that last match, I saw Lee Jung-jae and even Bae Hyuk-soo. It looks like everyone's condition is a result of your illicit actions. She kept attacking relentlessly. Being struck over and over left Taehyun with absolutely no strength to fight back. Just like that, he was slammed hard into the ground by Arang's ice powers. As he writhed in pain, she continued her stern judgment. You used forbidden skills. That's pure self-interest and it's not allowed. Both of them are now severely injured and in the recovery ward because of you. I'm guessing you had some forced excuse for doing what you did, which is why I haven't reported it to the organization yet. But you'd better know your place and voluntarily withdraw from this awakening competition. With what you've done, you have no right to be an awakener. You know that I can't stand it anymore. Ah, Rang suddenly snapped. Taehyun quickly shot back. Who are you to judge what's right or wrong for me? Despite being covered in wounds, he didn't care and struggled to his feet. What he said next made Arang freeze instantly. "You're just so righteous, aren't you? You saw that bastard Lee Jungjae acting like a tyrant toward the other Awakeners, so why didn't you step up to stop him? Now you want to talk about responsibility. Forget about right and wrong. In the end, you just want to take me down in this competition. Am I right? So just be honest and say it. At least that way I'd feel better and could face you properly in this fight. Don't hide behind those excuses and try to pin them on me." Taehyun had hit the nail on the head, leaving her speechless. Realizing the current situation, Arang suddenly asked, "Is that so? Is this what you're saying to counter my words? It seems like you're not going to regret anything about yourself then. This battle, the two of us, we won't be able to avoid it, will we? This time." She summoned a massive weapon into her hands. Arang's gaze was strangely intensely decisive. "I'll show you what a rank S Awakener is really capable of. I'm going to be completely different from those other two." Seeing that his opponent was Arang, Taehyun's face remained blank, but he clearly understood his own limits. The previous two battles had been too brutal. His mana was nearly gone. His white bone skill had been shattered multiple times and hadn't been able to regenerate, so his defense was significantly lowered in this tiny arena. If he tried to use his stealth skill to approach her, it would be difficult. With her wide-range ice-based damage skills, she would easily sniff him out. The Emperor's heart had boosted his strength and abilities, but in this immediate match, it would still be very tough. He hadn't found a way to turn the tables. His Predator skill was still sealed, and he didn't have much mana left. There was no way he could hold out long enough to close in and use his paralysis skill like in the fight against Lee Jungjae, but not wanting to waste any more time. Taehyun rushed forward. In the end, all he could do in this match was, his eyes were filled with nothing but determination. Even though Taehyun had reacted that way, Arang wouldn't let go either. The two faced each other head-on, and a massive light erupted all around them. Finally, the crystal ice layer Arang had created shattered. It was all part of Taehyun's plan. It was the only way he could think of. Behind them in the observation deck, the judges were utterly stunned. "I can't even see how the fight is going." The ice and cold made everything around them hazy. Even Taegu couldn't hide his surprise. Kim Taehyun's eyes widened, and everyone present couldn't hide their disbelief. They didn't know when, but both of them had disappeared from that space. Clouds of dust swirled everywhere. Taehyun was pressing down on Arang's body. Time seemed to stop in that moment. It was an incredibly awkward situation. She still didn't understand why she was pressed against Taehyun's lips. Frightened Arang let out a loud scream which startled him as well. Flashback to the moment before when Taehyun was rushing to attack Arang had already entered a state of battle readiness. A massive explosion echoed the ground, shattering under Arang's overwhelming power. Her face now looked extremely irritated, sensing something was wrong. She suddenly looked up. Taehyun leaped into the air, preparing a counterattack. Perhaps at this very moment, Taehyun had a different plan. In the moment he vanished into the mist in a second of desperation, he aimed for one thing. He lunged forward and kissed Arang on the lips. But in reality, this was just one part of his plan, not to paralyze time, but to... Their lips touched. His skills worked better when close to the target. At such a close range, the success rate increased exponentially. Kim Taehyun had combined his paralysis effect with his own blood and made her swallow it. Faced with the formidable resistance of a rank S Awakener, this was obviously a risky bet. The result was, and so Arang was completely paralyzed. Her face turned bright red. Kim Taehyun saw a system notification pop up. "You have fallen into a state of paralysis." Drained of all her stamina, she called out helplessly. At the same time, Taehyun received a new notification. "You have dealt a critical shock to your opponent's mind. Attraction increased by 3. A happy smile spread across his face. Could he have actually done it? Just then, the space opened up, leaving both of them frozen in place. The referee's voice quickly announced, "The first round of the test has concluded. Medical staff will take you all to a safe place. Please stay exactly where you are. I repeat, from this moment on, time is of the essence. What has to happen will happen." As soon as the first round of the test concluded, every injured candidate received immediate care from the medics. Even though Kim A-jang was paralyzed, she wasn't disqualified or considered incompetent. She passed the first test. As for Kim, he only had the registration number 7, but he pulled off a surprise by taking down Shin Yun, Bok, and Kim A-jang. This test has captured everyone's attention. Seeing Taeyun's familiar face has left everyone in complete disbelief. "That kid beat Shin Yun, Bok, and A-jang. I heard he's only a C rank. Are you kidding me? How did he pull that off?" Taeyun didn't seem to care as he walked into the classroom deep in thought. Those healing skills are incredible. I couldn't even walk before. Should I learn one later? Suddenly, a shout grabbed his attention. Kim Tae-yun, you coward! It turned out Eun-bok was lunging at him to get revenge. His sudden appearance caught Tae-yun by surprise, but Eun-bok was absolutely furious, screaming, "That dirty trick won't work a second time!" And just like that, the two of them started fighting right there. It drew the attention of other students. What the hell? Look at them fighting. Is that Shin Eun-bok trying to get even? If one candidate drops out, the rest of us have better odds. Fight, fight! Noticing the crowd cheering, Eun-bok angrily scolded them. You idiots! This doesn't involve you, so shut your mouths. A flash of lightning struck right at them, making the crowd scream in pain. Feeling that wasn't enough, Eun-bok shouted, Come on, Kim Tae-yun! Let's have a clean fight. This situation left Tae-yun speechless. He's lost it. Maybe that defeat really drove him insane. If you're not good enough, I'll teach you a lesson. Before he could even react, something stopped him. Even Tae-yun didn't even realize what was happening. The pressure in the room suddenly slammed Eun-bok down in front of everyone. He couldn't stop screaming in pure despair. Even Tae-yun, standing to the side, was startled, finally realizing the source of the pressure. A familiar figure, Sang-jin, walked slowly toward them. You useless kids! You never know when to just shut up and rest! The pressure kept rising, forcing Tae-yun to grit his teeth and endure it. Sang-jin chuckled. He moved 2 fingers, manipulating the pressure throughout the room. If you don't understand the rules and keep barking, you have to be punished. Tae-yun still couldn't understand why he was there. S-rank awakened player Park Sang-jin, one of the top awakened individuals in the new Korean Awakened Association. An SS-rank player. He saw potential in the fact that Tae-yun could withstand it. It only made him more excited. What's this? There's still one kid standing. This time, Sang-jin created a crystallized barrier, intensifying the pressure to the breaking point, forcing Tae-yun to hunch over. Sweat streamed down his face. He thought desperately, Damn it, I heard that the gap between C-rank and S-rank is on a completely different level, but I didn't think it was this terrifying. But his reaction only excited Sang-jin even more. Look at this guy. Are you really trying to resist it? Even veteran awakened players couldn't withstand this. And with that, he prepared to strike again. Just then, a voice from behind caught his attention. Hey, Park Sang-jin, what do you think you're doing? Other teachers rushed over, continuously blaming Sang-jin. What's wrong with you attacking kids who just finished their checkup? Are you trying to finish them off? Before the second test even starts, seeing the situation, he hurriedly explained, What do you mean? I was just giving them a little lesson. But the medical teacher felt incredibly annoyed. You're lying. You said you would check on them again. If you keep doing this in every test, there won't be anyone left. If you do this again, I'm reporting you to the chairman. Sang-jin suddenly turned to look at Tae-yun after a moment of silence. He asked, What's your name? Tae-yun was surprised but replied seriously, Kim Tae-yun. Hearing that familiar name, Bas caught his attention. If it's Kim Tae-yun, then he's the C-rank who beat both Shin Eun-bok and Kim A-jong. It's been a while since I've seen such an interesting kid. Before Tae-yun could grasp what was happening, Sang-jin put a hand on his shoulder. Your goal is to become an S-rank player, right? I'll be waiting. He moved with incredible speed and vanished from the scene. Sang-jin's appearance was like a gust of wind, leaving Tae-yun stunned, but the very next second, everyone started chasing after him. Don't just run away like nothing happened. Come back here a while later. The candidates who passed the test were gathered in one place. Their faces were full of confusion. Sang-jin slowly stepped out in front of everyone. After a moment of silence, he laughed quickly, checking on them. Have you all finished resting now? We will begin the second round of the test. The recruits were visibly shaken when they heard about the second test, but Sang-jin continued his announcement with an excited tone. The location is inside this gate right in front of you, a rank D dungeon. This gate is a gateway connecting us to other dimensions. Everyone was in complete disbelief. A dungeon, an actual dungeon with real monsters. You've got to be kidding me. Before they could even process that, Sang-jin kept going. For the rescue exam every year, the candidates entering the dungeon through this gate will be split into groups. You will explore this dungeon alongside a designated experienced supervisor. Every single action you take inside will be evaluated. Combat observation knowledge and rescue skills. All necessary gear like weapons and medical supplies will be fully provided by the association. Now everyone step forward in order. They were invited to enter the gate ahead. Meanwhile, Tae-hyun stood to the side, thinking to himself, the second test is inside a dungeon. But even for a bunch of amateurs with zero experience like these guys, a rank D dungeon shouldn't be that big of a deal. Unless it's a double dungeon, then it might just be the end of the world. Let me explain a bit about this so-called S-rank Apocalypse Double Dungeon that appeared during the second round of the Awakened One's recruitment exam, where the world's first double dungeon was discovered. It was found inside a D-rank dungeon. A lot of people, including the exploration team, were wiped out, which resulted in the opening of countless new dungeons. Thinking about this, Taehyun slowly walked forward. If only I could prevent that from happening. But still, no one would believe me if I said anything. And even if they did, I'd probably still be a prime suspect. What a shame, but I should just focus on my own business. Unless I was a member of that first exploration team, I'd have plenty of ways to survive. As he opened his eyes again, the surrounding forest grabbed his attention. Suddenly, a voice rang out, "Great, that's 5 people." His teammates were still looking at him. The man turned his head and asked, "So shall we go?" He was the supervisor for the second round of the exam, an A-rank awakened player named Mario Logi. Then the system notification announced that they were the first to discover the double dungeon, Apocalypse. This left Taehyun speechless. "Damn it," he muttered as monsters relentlessly charged toward them. The players fought with everything they had. In just a short time, the woman with short hair had completely taken care of things, leaving Mario Logi. Extremely excited, clapping his hands. "Well done, that was amazing." He walked toward the group with a satisfied smile. "For your first real combat experience in a dungeon, you all fought brilliantly. You truly have the potential of awakened ones." Listening to this, everyone hurriedly put on awkward smiles. "It's all thanks to your guidance, Supervisor. That's why we were able to fight so aggressively. We really owe you our thanks." Only Taehyun stood to the side, looking incredibly annoyed. Talk about bad luck. Out of all the teams in this competition, mine had to be the one to find the first double dungeon. This isn't looking good at all. And it's a double dungeon on top of that. Looking at the ring he's wearing, I've already guessed what it is. That's the Sage's ring, worn by the person who first discovered the double dungeon in my past life. Let me analyze it. It increases all stats: strength, stamina, magic, speed, and agility by 10 points each. After thinking this through, Taehyun understood the severity of the situation, and from that he could conclude one thing. There is definitely an S-rank monster in this dungeon. If that happens, my whole team is going to die. It'll be hard for me to escape even if I already know what's coming. So by any means necessary, I have to find a way out now that I know the portal might appear. That Apocalypse? Sensing something was wrong, the Guardian looked up in confusion. "Oh, there are so many paths here. Supervisor, what should we do now?" Mario Logi chuckled, trying to reassure everyone. "It's fine, it's just a double dungeon. I can still control the situation. Let's take our time and figure out which way to go." Just as he finished his sentence, Taehyun made a move, leaving Mario Logi completely bewildered. "Hey, you Kim Taehyun, where are you going? How can you just wander off on your own like that?" "That's extremely dangerous, you hear me?" Taehyun replied with a smug look on his face. "Everyone just follow me. This direction is safer." In his mind, Taehyun was calculating, if I let him choose the direction, it's faster for me to just pick the path myself. That would be much safer. He urged them, "Hurry up." This left Mario Logi feeling completely helpless. "Hey, get back here." Taehyun quickly made his decision. "I'll take a different path than the one he picked in my previous life to avoid the Apocalypse portal." After that, Mario Logi kept calling out to the candidate Taehyun, but he didn't seem to care. "This way, hurry up." He was silently calculating everything. This path would lead everyone. And so the rest of the group had no choice but to chase after Taehyun. "Hey, you!" Everything was going according to his plan, escaping the dungeon, avoiding the Apocalypse portal. A joyful smile appeared on Taehyun's face. Everyone hurry. But the sight before them made everyone freeze. The people around him were confused and started whispering, "What is that? A gate within a gate, does that mean a double dungeon?" Meaning, everything the supervisor said had come true. Staring at the new spatial portal before him, Taehyun couldn't stop sweating. A double dungeon. An S-rank Apocalypse portal. I didn't think that I had chosen a different path than in my past life. And in the end, we still ended up in front of this gate. But while he was still lost in thought, his teammates suddenly surged forward, saying they'd go check it out. Sensing something was off, Taehyun turned back and warned everyone to stop. This grabbed everyone's attention as something wrong. It seemed like he'd realized something wasn't right. He looked at the gate and asked if the others didn't find it strange. A gate within a gate, it's a double dungeon. We need to be careful. There's no telling what's inside. What should we do now? Shouldn't we report this to the Awakened Association supervisor? After a moment of silence, Magiology stood there in deep thought. I had a feeling this would be a double dungeon. It's quite a rare occurrence, honestly. You're right, notifying the association is the correct protocol. Hearing him say that, Taehyun finally let out a sigh of relief. Even so, Magiology suddenly added, "But since we've encountered something this rare, We should probably go inside and take a look. Taehyun was startled. What did you say? The man didn't seem to care and kept walking forward. All right, I understand what you're trying to say. Based on my experience and intuition, the energy radiating from this gate doesn't seem dangerous at all, like we established when we first came in. It's just a D-rank dungeon after all, and I am an A-rank awakened, you know. Right. I suspect the association might already be aware of this. Therefore, this practical combat test of ours was likely already factored into their plans, so we can handle this just fine. His series of actions left Taehyun completely stunned. Sir, what are you saying, this double gate? No one can predict when it'll appear. It's extremely dangerous. How can you let inexperienced trainees like us go in there? Just as he said that, Magiology quickly cut him off. There's no need to be so afraid. We're a team, aren't we? Just follow my lead and everyone will get through this challenge. Understood. Seeing his reaction, all the other teammates were annoyed. Exactly, you were the one who insisted on taking this path. And now you're still talking, just listen to the supervisor. Don't talk back, got it? This betrayal left Taehyun feeling completely helpless. He couldn't do anything but seethe with anger, thinking, these idiots. Not wanting to waste time, Magiology continued. All right, it's decided then. With no other choice, Taehyun desperately pleaded, Supervisor, please reconsider. But it was too late. The man flicked his finger and a flash of white light appeared, leaving Taehyun no time to react. The space around them began to shift. Before everyone's eyes, Taehyun's figure began to shrink into a new space. Finally, the light vanished completely and the area was plunged into a strange, utter darkness. When Taehyun opened his eyes again, the scene before him made him freeze. Even Magiology standing to the side couldn't believe his eyes. What is this? Everyone around them panicked, realizing the scene before them. Is this a D-rank double dungeon? Why is it so different? The place was flooded with a crimson-red hue. The atmosphere grew strangely gloomy, and the area was deathly silent. Ahead stood an old stone statue still standing there waiting. Perhaps this was an omen of the misfortune about to unfold. The air grew even heavier. It made everyone heighten their guard. Something's wrong, Supervisor. This might not be a D-rank double dungeon. Sir, be careful, don't go over there. Magiology snapped irritably. Shut up. While everyone else was still on edge, Taehyun suddenly spoke up. Everyone look ahead. This time they turned to criticize him again. What are you talking about? You were the one who led us here and caused trouble, and now you're running up there. What are you doing? Looking at the scene before him, he suddenly announced, it's here. Just as Taehyun said, strange figures keep emerging ahead. Their faces are blurred, and each one is just a massive body with a crystal embedded in the center. The sight is completely unbelievable to everyone participating. Rank A monster swordmasters, seriously. How is this possible? This is a rank D dungeon. Realizing the situation is far worse than calculated, Magiology frantically yells for everyone to prepare for battle just as the monsters draw their own swords. They charge toward the group, moving with terrifying speed, forcing everyone to scramble and dodge the constant relentless attacks unleashed by these monsters. Unable to just sit back, Mario Losey quickly prepares to fight back. Die, you monsters! Strange flaming energy begins to erupt all over the ground. The next second, this fiery energy strikes straight at the monsters in the area. The two monsters keep muttering strange numbers. 2222. Seeing the situation stabilize, Magiology signals again. All right, everyone. Combine your strength and attack them together. This time, everyone quickly gets into battle formation. A blinding flash of light obscures the monster's vision, and fighting to survive, everyone puts their heart into every strike. Students who have shield spells move to the front and defend the others, and those with long-range spells fall back. Finally, the two monsters are taken down by the group's combined effort in just a short amount of time. Both monsters are completely defeated. Seeing them fall to the ground, everyone finally lets out a sigh of relief, their bodies loosening up as the tension fades. Something's wrong. We managed to beat those Rank A swordmasters together. See, if we work as a team, we can do it. Rank A isn't as hard as we thought, right? Let's see those bastards try to show their faces again. Suddenly, a strange silhouette appears from behind. Realizing something is off, everyone slowly turns around. This time, 4 new Rank A monsters appear, looking even more powerful and terrifying than the last. Looking at the scene before them, everyone is left completely stunned. The expressions on their faces shift, and on the other side, Taehyun is still observing the corpses of the monsters that were just defeated. His face gradually realizes the reality of the situation. What is this? Something is very strange. More and more monster bodies are piling up on the ground. Magiology also realizes the situation is far more serious than his projections. The sheer number of monsters is increasing. It leaves him feeling utterly helpless. Damn it. Every time we kill one, layers of more monsters rush in. He turns to look at the group behind him. Everyone seems completely exhausted from the fighting. Everyone is spent. If this continues, we're all going to be killed. While everyone is at a loss, Taehyun walks forward slowly. There are too many strange things about this double dungeon. His appearance surprises Magellogy slightly. Kim Taehyun. He seems okay. He's been fighting so much, but there's not a hint of fatigue on him. Clearly, this double gate is extremely dangerous. If Taehyun's abilities hadn't been enhanced by the Heart of the Monarch skill, he wouldn't have lasted this long. Is he really just a rank C awakened player? Magellogy asks, "What do you mean by strange, Taehyun?" Taehyun turns to look in one direction. "It's just a guess, but those aren't ordinary Death Knights." Hearing his absurd claim, everyone reacts immediately. "What the hell are you talking about? Then who were we fighting this whole time?" Taehyun sighs, grabbing his weapon and stepping forward. "I'm going to check it out right now to make sure what we're actually up against." Before they can say anything else, he doesn't waste any more breath. He charges directly at the incoming monsters, his face eerily calm. He quickly parries the weapons as the monsters swing them down with crushing force exactly where Taehyun was standing. Realizing something is wrong, one of them signals, but before they know it, Taehyun has vanished right in front of them. By the time they realize it, Taehyun is already in the air. Instead of attacking them, he dashes straight forward. This time, his target is what lies ahead. Taehyun doesn't hesitate attacking the large statue behind them. The weapon he throws strikes the idol head-on. Finally, the protective layer cracks completely. The massive stone structure shatters before everyone's eyes. Even then, the monsters don't give up and continue to charge at Taehyun. The next second, a purple light erupts and the space here changes completely. The red illusionary landscape gradually fades away. Everything happens so fast that Magellogy and Taehyun's teammates are frozen in place. What was that, an illusion? After a moment of silence, Taehyun quickly explains, "It was an illusion trap. It's a trick used to create a fake space and fake enemies to drain the energy of the intruders." Audio content produced by VB.VN. Thanks for listening. Everyone was panicking, reacting like it was impossible. To think we're struggling this much over just an illusion. Wait, so does this mean something even worse is going to show up from now on? Sensing something was off, a bewildered Mario Logi questioned him. "How did you know this was an illusion trap, Taehyun? You've never fought a Death Knight before." The Death Knight from before. But seriously, how? Contrasting the old man's attitude, Taehyun appeared strangely calm. "I'm not sure about that, but one thing's for sure, these monsters here. They aren't going to be easy to take down." His chilling words froze the man in his tracks. Not wanting to waste time, Taehyun signaled for them to keep moving. "Let's move now. Before we all get killed." The time that followed, Mario Logi quickly led everyone deeper into the cave. He looked anxiously into the dark abyss. The illusions had vanished, but the situation wasn't getting any better. Audio content produced by VB.VN. After the appearance of the double dungeon, the space within it completely shifted and the wounds from the battle with the monsters, the illusions grew heavier. "We can't just sit here waiting for a rescue team. Our last remaining hope is to find the dungeon's exit at all costs." The scene before them made Mario Logi gasp in surprise. "Found it? There's a gate over there." This time they reached a massive door. Remembering what had happened before made everyone deeply anxious. "Is there danger behind that door?" Mario Logi suddenly spoke up to comfort them. It might be a bit dangerous, but sweat poured down his face. The massive door slowly creaked open before them. Even though he was terrified, Mario Logi had to grit his teeth and push it open. The sight inside made him freeze instantly. This time, waiting for them was a stone statue already poised and ready. Everyone gathered to observe this stone knight more closely, noticing the sheer number of them here. It made the teammates exhale in relief. If we hadn't opened that door, we all would have died in here. A Death Knight. What is this, just one of them? While everyone was still celebrating, more and more began to appear. By this point, the expressions on everyone's faces began to change. In the time that followed, flames constantly engulfed the area. It seemed like here, a brutal battle was about to unfold. The light flooded in, revealing the true number of knights appearing in this place. A massive space loomed ahead, crashing into the eyes of everyone present. It seemed like this time, Taehyun and his teammates had taken the wrong path. The number of monsters appearing here made everyone tremble with fear. "What the hell is this? Are these all the Death Knights in this place?" Noticing their expressions, the Night Lord suddenly let out a loud, excited laugh. "You pathetic humans actually managed to crawl all the way here, huh? Not bad." It cast its gaze downward, its voice booming. We have to start dealing with you lot. And that was the Death Knight Lord, the master of the S-rank Apocalypse dungeon. Every single monster was present in this place. They slammed their swords into the ground. The scenery became truly terrifying. The sight left the witnesses completely stunned. Unable to take it anymore, the blonde guy yelled out, "What? What is this action they're taking?" It seemed Taehyun had figured it out. "It looks like they want to fight us one-on-one, with each and every one of us." This time they all became absolutely terrified. One-on-one. No way, I've run out of mana. How can I keep fighting them? Seeing things were going south, Taehyun shouted, "Everyone stay calm. Our goal is to get out of here." As he was still racking his brain for a plan, the group panicked and fled. They didn't want to stay in this place for even one more second. "It's best if we run back to the start and wait for someone to save us. I don't want to die here." The monster began readying its weapon to fight. It didn't hesitate at all. It attacked Mario Logi and Taehyun. While they dodged, the people behind them were severely injured. This situation left both of them frozen. In that split second, Taehyun's eyes widened in disbelief. Not wanting to waste time, he turned his head and shouted, "Damn Guan Mado HAK, I'll buy us some time. You need to find a way out of here now." Just as he was about to face danger, Madohak suddenly threw both of them backward, his hand slowly extending to release a surge of golden light energy. It successfully formed a shield to protect them both. The situation left him completely bewildered. "Madohak, what the hell are you doing? Why did you do that?" The man suddenly cut him off. "Shut up. An awakener with as little experience as you wouldn't know how to handle this. Leave this to me." Madohak's sudden outburst left Taehyun completely confused. And before he could even react, the man slowly spoke, "I've always wanted to become an S-rank awakener. But no matter how much I wanted it or how hard I trained, I could never reach that goal. It just kept getting further and further out of reach. This is my chance. As long as I can defeat the boss of this double dungeon, I will be officially recognized as an S-rank awakener. Today is the day I decide my fate." As soon as Madohak finished speaking, the monster charged at them with its weapon again. With no other choice, he braced himself for combat. In just a few short seconds, they brushed past each other. Though visibly exhausted, Madohak still tried to comfort him. "Kim Taehyun, don't be disappointed. Even though I've only known you for a short while, I can see you have incredible potential to grow. You need to run while you still can. These monsters, I'll hold them off for a while. Don't worry, I won't go down that easily. This is my role as a supervisor." Understanding what he was doing, Taehyun froze in his tracks. Madohak. He frantically turned to look at the state of everyone else. It seemed like a dire situation for him, but seeing everyone's injuries, sweat began to pour down his face. While Taehyun was at a loss for what to do, a massive explosion roared behind him. Out of habit, he quickly turned to check the situation. It turned out Madohak had been completely overwhelmed by the monsters in this place. His broken figure lay still on the ground, his entire body soaked in bright red blood. Seeing him defeated so quickly left Taehyun paralyzed, not knowing what to do. The other teammates were still lying on the ground in critical condition, and Madohak showed no signs of life while battling the monsters anymore. Everything happening in such rapid succession left Taehyun in despair. Fresh red blood dripped from a blade onto the ground as one of the monsters pointed its sword at Taehyun's face. It spoke slowly, "As I challenge you." Time seemed to stand still. The place remained eerily silent. Madohak lay motionless on the ground, seemingly unaware of what had happened. This situation left Taehyun frozen, unsure of how to proceed. The monster remained relentless. True to its words, sweat kept streaming down his face. Then he realized something. He slowly glanced downward. Before his eyes was a ring glowing with a very strange energy. Looking closer, he realized it was a very familiar ring. It shocked Taehyun to realize it was the ring belonging to Supervisor Madohak. While he was still thinking and calculating, the monster raised its sword again to strike. With no other choice, it was time for Taehyun to make a decision. He seized the opportunity and lunged forward. Now he held that familiar ring in his hand. "I need to equip this to boost my power. Hopefully it's enough to reawaken the Predator skill. There's no other way this isn't the time to think." "Please!" He hurriedly put the ring on. Light erupted from the ring all around him, activating the Sage's ring. At the same time, all the monsters in the area rushed toward Taehyun. They all saw him as their common enemy, but suddenly, something appeared right there. In the blink of an eye, the monsters were completely blown away. Even the leader of the monsters couldn't believe his eyes. What kind of power is this? Simultaneously, system notifications flashed repeatedly. Sage's ring activated. All stats increased by 10. All attributes have been reset. Predator skill reactivated. The scene at the bottom of the dungeon became utter chaos, with various sounds echoing constantly. All of the monsters in this place were dealt with by Taehyun. Seeing this, the remaining ones rushed forward. He didn't waste any time. He turned and entered combat mode. Taehyun struggled to fight back as if clinging to his small chance at survival. He silently assessed the situation before him. I need 10 seconds to fully activate the Predator skill. I can trust that with the skills I've acquired up until now, I can completely defeat them. With the experience I've gathered from previous battles, the fight raged on. Even though the monsters were gradually being overwhelmed by Taehyun, he didn't let himself rest for even a second. In this head-to-head battle, I will survive. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocked the space. Dust and smoke filled the air. Looking at the giant weapon ahead, Taehyun froze. When he looked closer, he realized it was something very familiar. Sweat poured down his face. He frantically looked toward the boss standing high above. It seemed Taehyun's relentless clearing of the monsters had annoyed it. This time, Taehyun truly realized he was in grave danger. He was trapped by that boss. Before he could even react, all the surrounding monsters lunged at him. With no other choice, he scrambled to dodge, but no matter how far he ran, the monsters kept attacking relentlessly. Taehyun's pace quickened, desperate to escape this hellish place as fast as he could. The red blood on his body grew with every passing moment. Taehyun set his sights on the boss hovering in the air and charged. His power was getting closer and closer to it, just a little more distance, and he would be able to reach this terrifying boss. A cracking sound seemed to echo, and something terrifying flashed past the boss's body. Taehyun's eyes widened, unable to believe what he was seeing. While he was still in despair, the boss's voice slowly rang out, "You're not bad, are you? But that's as far as you go." Before Taehyun could react, a massive explosion like a nuclear bomb tore through the area. The scene grew more devastating by the second. At the center of it all, the boss had completely overpowered Taehyun. After a moment of silence, it spoke slowly, probing him. "I want to ask you one last thing before I end you. Where did your power come from?" Racked with pain, Taehyun could only scream in desperation. The boss continued to pour all its strength into suppressing him while system notifications kept popping up. "You have resisted part of the Death Knight Lord's pressure with a mysterious power. The pressure weighing you down has decreased slightly." Seeing Taehyun fighting back so fiercely, the boss seemed surprised. "You really are different from the other awakened ones. But do you really think you can stop the pressure I'm bearing down on you? I'll ask you one more time, where does that power come from?" Under the boss's crushing weight, Taehyun's life hung by a thread. As he opened his eyes again, he was back in that dark space. The god didn't seem surprised by Taehyun's appearance, standing perfectly still. The image of the battlefield slowly faded before his eyes. That face remained completely emotionless, devoid of any concern. Curious, Taehyun quickly looked to the side at those poor souls who had now lost their lives in this war. Majelaji's corpse lay there sacrificed in vain. Looking at this situation, Taehyun's eyes widened in disbelief. Nothing he had was changing. Who was the true master of the power that granted him the Predator King skill? Why, when I attained this power, could I understand the language of monsters? Was this power a coincidence, or was there some sort of design? Everything remained in the dark. Taehyun asked himself, why? Did the king grant me this royal power? While Taehyun was deep in thought, the god's voice emerged. "I have told you all of that before." A familiar figure carrying light slowly approached. Taehyun stood still, looking at the god before him. The figure smiled, looking calmly toward him as he spoke. "I am impressed by your will and perseverance. Those are what make you strong. You do not need to overthink or change anything at all." He could only stand there and listen. "You just need to hold on to the royal power that I have bestowed upon you." Finally, Taehyun returned to reality. The boss kept on talking. "It seems you have finally succumbed to my power." I didn't get the answer I wanted. "So there's no other way. I'll just end your life here." Feeling that something was wrong, the boss started turning its head. It seemed like a massive change had occurred here. Everything was beginning to shatter in an unnatural way. The surrounding monsters, for some reason, were completely wiped out. This situation forced the boss to turn back, surprised to inspect what was happening. "What, this power? You bastard, how did you break free from my control with that crazy skill?" At the same time, system notifications flickered incessantly. Magic power increasing by 1. Strength increasing by 1. Agility increasing by 1. Seeing Taehyun trying so hard, the boss let out a surprised laugh. "Nice, I've been waiting for this for a long time." "Show me your true power, then." I will end this battle with the glory befitting the Death Knight. While it was still being arrogant, something moved with lightning speed, a flash of purifying light aimed at the boss, slashing straight at it. Taehyun. Perhaps it was still too smug, thinking it had already defeated him. It realized something was wrong. Its eyes widened immediately as Taehyun blocked the attack. You've always been curious about where I got this power, haven't you? This situation left it in utter disbelief. How could he? He abruptly cut it off. Enough. You shall receive the answer you so deeply desire. A system notification flashes, and a terrifying surge of power from the Sovereign strikes the boss head-on. Screaming in desperate agony, the boss writhes in pain. Meanwhile, Taehyun shifts into his next battle stance, his eyes burning with an intimidating intensity. Charging forward, the two clash once more, trading blows from one side to the other. Now that he has the opening, Taehyun refuses to let this chance slip away. His power surges suddenly, driving the boss into a rage. How dare you, you little worm! Under its command, countless weapons levitate and swarm the air. It strikes at Taehyun without a second of hesitation. How could a mere human defeat me? Taehyun, no longer intimidated by anything, clenches his fist tight. Suddenly, streaks of crimson energy begin to obey his will. Supported by the god, these powers manifest into sharp blade-like projectiles that tear through the air. Taehyun has completely unleashed his potential. It's clear now that the boss is no match for him. He stares down at it coldly, as if ready to finish this once and for all. This power, it's not something humans are meant to possess. This is the power of a king. As he speaks, a beast conjured by Taehyun completely swallows the boss whole. At the same time, the creature begins to fade away into nothingness. In the end, Taehyun is the victor. System notifications flood in. You have learned the new skill, Knight's Battle Will. The scene shifts to the outside world. Everyone is still gathered at the site. They all keep their eyes locked on the massive spatial rift ahead. Songjin asks in a worried tone, "What rank is this magical energy?" A woman behind him calls out urgently, "It's S rank! It's S rank! We've issued an evacuation order, but it's been delayed because the dungeon is undergoing a shift." The man beside her looks incredibly anxious. "I don't know if reinforcements can make it in time before the dungeon fully opens. Look at the situation." Songjin seethes with anger, thinking to himself, "Damn it, a D-rank dungeon, and now it's leaking S-rank energy. If this keeps up, everyone is going to die. I might have to go in there and check it out myself." While everyone is panicking, the rift begins to shift again. Everyone stares as the entrance starts to open. Is it really opening? Suddenly, everyone get ready. A blinding white light engulfs the entire area. Before anyone can figure out what's happening, sweat streams down Songjin's face. Then Taehyun's familiar silhouette appears before them all. He flashes a confident smile and says to the group, "Whoa, that was a close one. Almost didn't make it back." Thanks to Kim Taehyun's efforts, the dual dungeon incident is resolved and all the trainees have escaped safely. The results of the second qualification exam will be decided based on the scores recorded before the evacuation. The victims' bodies have been recovered and returned to their families. Jin Hui's voice echoes inside the grand building. Headquarters has decided not to reveal the identity of the person who cleared the dual dungeon. We might get criticized by the press, but if we reveal the truth, Kim Taehyun will become a target for the media and other hunters. Hearing this, Songjin and Taeguk chuckle and reply, "It can't be helped. Chairman, do you really think we don't understand these basics? Just keep him safe from the media." Seeing they agree, he nods. "Thank you. Now what do you two think?" Jinhui quickly asks Kim Taehyun, or rather, what is the true skill level of the person who cleared an S-rank dungeon? After a moment of thought, Songjin smiles. Let's see. He cleared an S-rank dungeon on his own, so he must at least have the skills of an S-rank player. Taeguk seems more contemplative. But the truth is, since his official rank is much lower, it's hard to gauge his true power. Hearing their takes, Jinhui quickly catches on. "So you mean—" The two share a silent look. He shares his hypothesis. There's a high possibility he could reach a national-level power. The scene shifts to another dimension. Bathed in deep crimson, Taehyun finds himself in this place unsure why. Monsters appear one after another, their numbers growing by the second. Taehyun stands dazed on high ground, watching the creatures present in this realm. What is this monsters? Why am I in the abyss? While Taehyun is deep in thought, the familiar figure of the god appears in the sky, slowly walking through the void. This leaves Taehyun confused. The Sovereign. As soon as the monsters see the god, they charge to attack. He doesn't hesitate, slowly extending his hand forward. His palms radiate a light that seems to cleanse everything. Time itself seems to freeze in this place. The god uses his power to put everything on ice. Taehyun stands to the side, watching in shock and confusion when the god's voice finally speaks out. He will be waiting. This surprises him, and he looks up at the god. He continues, "At the very bottom of the abyss." His voice sounds strangely otherworldly. As Taehyun opens his eyes, he realizes he is back in the real world, lying in bed in a hospital gown. He senses something is wrong. Taehyun sits up in a hurry, realizing his current situation. What is this? Was it a dream? No, it felt too real. I will be waiting. What could he mean? A predator that even S-rank monsters fear, plus being able to understand what the monsters were saying. Too many questions in my head. I guess the only way is to become stronger and head into the abyss. His status window appears, name Kim Taehyun, age 19, age. Rank B, strength 100, stamina 100, speed 100, magic 150, charm 30. Consumes 15% of remaining magic, 150 out of 150. Skill, predatory scent, rank B, allows the user to devour the chosen target. Magic cost 40 stone skin, rank B, reinforces the body. Magic cost 30 paralysis, rank B, controls the target's body. Magic cost 20 monarch's heart, rank B, increases the strength stats of all party members. Magic cost 30 knight's battle will, rank B, overwhelms enemies with sheer spirit. Magic cost 35. Reading through this information left Taehyun stunned, just as I thought. At the same time, his own skills flashed before his eyes. Knight's battle will. Rank B. Overwhelms enemies with sheer spirit. Magic cost 35. He recalled himself fighting for his life. It even made Taehyun chuckle to himself. He'd already had a feeling back when he fought the Death Knight. But to think it had actually reached rank B with stats like these. I might even be able to go toe-to-toe with S-rank players soon. That Monarch's pressure, that's definitely the powerful skill that suppressed me back then. At this rate of growth, I'll reach the level of a national-tier powerhouse in no time. While Taehyun was deep in thought, noise erupted from outside, followed by arguing. Don't be like that! If you act so recklessly! The door swung open and Ah Young's voice rang out. Oh, come on, I'm just here for a visit. Even the association president wouldn't be this uptight, right? With a slow, intrigued smile, she walked inside. Greetings. The scene shifts to an expensive luxury car on the city streets. The secretary, looking anxious and confused, explained, President, I'm the one supposed to be driving, Taehyun calmly announced. Just sit there. They're my guest, I'll handle it. Taehyun, sitting in the passenger seat, quickly glanced outside. The Scavenger Guild, one of the 4 major guilds. Why did you come looking for me? Seeing his calm attitude, she laughed in surprise. Oh, did I not mention it? I wanted to see the kid who survived the S-rank double dungeon with my own eyes, so I came to pick him up. This news was hard for Taehyun to believe. The president of one of the 4 major guilds came all the way here for just that reason. Give me a more believable excuse, she chuckled, glancing at him. You're quite stiff, aren't you? Fine, then. So do you know how the 3rd awakened aptitude test is conducted? The 3rd test is a survival test just like the 1st. But unlike the first, people on the outside can watch from the stands. That's when your skills will be exposed. Every guild will start craving the low-rank awakener who can defeat an S-ranker. Taehyun listened silently to everything Ah Young was saying. But while he was still processing this, she held out her hand. So I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. Money or fame, Kim Taehyun. I'll give you everything you want. Join the Scavenger Guild. Taehyun stared blankly at the offer from the woman in front of him. It seemed Ah Young was very confident her plan would succeed. But this only made him feel more uncomfortable. The driver was incredibly anxious, wondering what would happen next. After a short silence, Taehyun suddenly refused. No. Those 2 simple words left Ah Young completely stunned. What did you just say? The scene shifts back to Taehyun's familiar 1-story house. He turned back and slowly said, Thank you for bringing me here. I'll walk the rest of the way from here. Remembering what just happened, Ah Young was utterly bewildered. Wait, why? How can this be? Everything I said is true. I'll double your salary, and you'll get plenty of other perks if you join my guild. Or did you already accept an offer from someone else? Think about it again. Whatever you need, just tell me, Taehyun thought to himself. It really is hard to turn this down. Even so, he remained firm. I already told you. I don't have another guild. I just don't want to join any guild right now. The conditions your guild offered are more than generous. Thank you so much. I'll reach out when I need to. I just want my freedom for now. So I can't agree to this. Let's consider this settled.
She must have understood. Without wasting more time, Taehyun headed back toward his house.
A happy smile appeared on his face. Suddenly, Ah Young's hand shot out toward him. Before Taehyun realized what was happening, she had snuck up from behind. The situation left Taehyun utterly confused as he turned around. Ah Young's voice turned chilling as she judged him. "Who exactly are you?" A rookie awakener, fresh from the association's evaluation, is actually turning down an offer from me. I've thought it over. There's no reason for any awakener to reject such an invitation. I find this absolutely unbelievable, but I'll let it slide for now. Just as he agreed to join her guild, the driver rushed over shouting, "Guildmaster, he's still young. He clearly hasn't thought this through yet. How could you treat him like that, and you Kim Taehyun, you need to reconsider. This is an incredibly rare invitation from the Guildmaster herself. Just agree to it already. You're going to have to join a guild eventually anyway, so why not just hear her out?" Taehyun chuckled in surprise. "Even after the Guildmaster said all that, you're still not listening. I suppose that's to be expected, though. This doesn't surprise me much, Guildmaster Lim Ah Young." The knowledge he just dropped left her stunned. How could you possibly know that?" Taehyun calmly replied. "I know everything." Even knowing her real name caught Ah Young completely off guard. She clearly hadn't accounted for this. Suddenly, a mysterious ethereal light flared up in the space around them. The scene shifted away. What was just a normal space a moment ago changed in an instant. A massive shockwave erupted right there. Everyone present was forced to be wary of Taehyun's raw power. Sweat poured down the driver's face. This is bad. This has caused way too much of a stir. Guildmaster Lim Ah Young. Her real name was Lim Ah Young, heiress to the family representing the I Sung group. At first, they had planned to groom her, to eventually take over the family, but everything changed after the patriarch had a daughter of his own. That was when the name Lim Ah Young was stripped away, and she was treated like an outsider. From then on, after some time passed, Lim Ah Young became an awakener and changed her name. Almost no one knew about this. Taehyun's words sent Ah Young into a blind rage. "How dare you say that name in front of me? You must have grown tired of living. I don't think I can show you any more mercy." Suddenly, system notifications flooded the air. "You have resisted the pressure of the Amazon warrior spirit skill rank S with a mysterious power. Resistance successful while in a disadvantageous state. You have unleashed the combat spirit of a B-rank knight to counter that pressure. Counterattack successful." Seeing Taehyun break free from her pressure left Ah Young completely bewildered. How can a newly awakened awakener have such powerful energy? Even I, an S-rank awakener with years of combat experience, was pushed back. Just what exactly? None of the pressure she unleashed had any effect on Taehyun at all. The situation terrified her. She realized she had messed with the wrong person. Without wasting a second, he stepped forward. Now then, the distance between Taehyun and Ah Young closed. A confident smile finally appeared on his face. "I told you, didn't I? Now do you understand? Don't take my kindness for weakness, Guildmaster." That single moment left her incredibly embarrassed, and the driver could only stand by speechless at the whole ordeal. No way. The scene shifted to the next morning at a massive plaza as the MC's voice rang out. "The third test for the Awakeners is taking place here. This could be considered a massive arena, and this test will be held right here, open to the public so everyone can witness it. Therefore, you can come here to watch the Awakeners show off their talents in person or catch it on TV. Today, many high-level Awakeners from guilds across the country are here. They've come to scout for potential talent for their guilds along with the families of the contestants who are here to cheer them on." Ah Young mumbled to herself while eating Kim Taehyun. "Let's see what you've got." Lim Ah Young had disguised herself as a civilian to watch the third test, while Taehyun's aunt and uncle were becoming incredibly anxious. "Oh my goodness! Oh my! There are so many people here. It's all thanks to Taehyun that we get to be in a place like this. I'm here to watch the competition. But is that kid going to be okay? There are so many talented people here. This awakening exam is going to be really tough. I wonder if..." But Ji Yang seems incredibly confident, laughing triumphantly. "Oh, you don't need to worry about that at all. Kim Taehyun is definitely going to pass. Everyone just put your faith in him. He already has the strength to defeat S-rank high-level awakeners. He just needs to give it a try, and that's all there is to it." Hwang Ji-young, Kim Taehyun's cousin, and currently the president of the Kim Taehyun fan club, which has exactly 2 members, breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing that. "Well, that's a relief. We can definitely trust him then." He nodded and added, "Yeah, 1 strike is all it takes for him to finish off his opponent." Meanwhile, reporter Kim had been silently observing the whole situation from the side. "All right, I've prepared for this. I need to observe his match carefully so I can write a great article." Reporter Kim is a rookie for the Awakener newspaper. part of the SI group. She was determined to make this happen. She had failed to interview him last time. The editor-in-chief's reason was that he was just a nameless awakener. Back then, her superior had constantly scolded her. "What do you think you're doing? This guy isn't even A rank, he's just a weak C rank, and you want to waste your time interviewing him." This left her feeling helpless. "Oh, I'm sorry." Just thinking about it made reporter Kim tremble on the verge of tears. "This isn't good, I'm getting worried. There are so many high-level awakeners in this competition. If he gets eliminated, I'm done for. If I don't get a proper interview, my career is basically over." Right at that moment, the pair next to her caught reporter Kim's attention. "Hey, notice the atmosphere in the arena? It looks pretty tense." She looked down at the stands in surprise. The atmosphere in the arena was becoming strange. Realizing something wasn't right, she stood there bewildered. Reporter Kim noticed the attitude of everyone there. All the high-level awakeners participating in the test, along with other potential awakeners from different guilds. Like A-rank Lizzie sang, they were all looking at one person in the arena. Is he the target everyone is aiming for in this exam? Could that person be the most potential S-rank awakener? This audio content is produced by VB.VN. Realizing something was off left, reporter Kim stunned. The judge's voice boomed. "The third round is about to begin." A strange smile appeared on Taehyun's face, and at the same time everyone went into high alert. For Taehyun, let's all pay close attention to this captivating match. Now all you awakeners, show us your talent. As soon as the match started, the crowd rushed forward. Needless to say, they were all targeting Taehyun. Mystical blue lights erupted throughout the area. At the same time, a series of massive explosions rained down on Taehyun. They all seemed to have a silent agreement that everyone else was an ally. "Everyone focus your attacks on that guy first. That's the guy who beat the S-rank awakener in the last round. If we don't focus on taking him down first..." While they were focused on fighting, Taehyun's familiar figure appeared and the situation left them in despair. Screaming in panic, a bright, cheerful smile appeared on his face. Not wanting to waste time, he directly knocked one guy out, and the one right next to him didn't escape his grasp either. Taehyun hit them so hard their teeth went flying into the space around them. The place turned into total chaos. In just a short time, all the guys around him were knocked out while Taehyun remained as calm as if nothing had happened. Suddenly, a blue light emanated from the ground, catching his attention. Then, vines suddenly sprouted from the ground, latching tightly onto Taehyun's body before he could even react. It even made him feel a bit excited. "What's this move?" While he was distracted, this guy laughed defiantly. "Even if you've beaten an S-rank, you still need to be careful. I'm the one who will be the final winner of this round. And you don't stand a chance." No sooner had he finished speaking than Taehyun dealt with him directly, no messing around, just one basic punch. He was completely defeated. Taehyun continued to take down the next target. Seeing his overwhelming strength, the crowd around him immediately became wary. "He's a monster. Everyone attack with everything you've got. If we keep attacking him together, he'll eventually get tired and give up." At the same time, he turned his head and pointed at one of them, muttering words that clearly conveyed the knight's fierce determination for everyone to hear. They decided to team up and attack once more, but then one of them realized the situation had turned sour. Sweat poured down his face, and they all felt the crushing pressure Taehyun was exerting, a giant skeletal monster, summoned by him personally. This situation made even those faking their deaths jump in shock, while Taehyun's facial expression slowly shifted, and on Sangjin's side he felt more exhilarated than ever. But it seemed reporter Kim was still very anxious about what was happening. Under everyone's gaze, Taehyun slowly reached his hand forward, and the space around them began to change. Airang was still sitting calmly on the ground, but her expression had changed at some point. "He's truly insane. How could he even do something like that?" On the spectator stand, only Taehyun remained standing. He sighed and kept walking forward. "Looks like everyone's been taken down. Just one girl left, huh?" He seemed to find it a bit interesting. Amidst the thick dust, Airang's familiar silhouette quickly appeared that was none other than Airang. Although she looked distressed, the situation made Taehyun laugh in surprise. "Lim Arang, are you trying to fight me? Well then, come at me." She was still anxious about facing his power, and at that very moment Taehyun got another idea. "Or do you want me to do what I did in the previous test and kiss you?" Her face turned beet red at these words. At the same time, icy cold layers of frost controlled by Airang slowly appeared, gradually creeping through the space around them. Finally, a golden orb encased both of them. Inside, she shouted, "Kim Taehyun!" Taehyun laughed, looking around. "An ice prison again!" Airang felt incredibly frustrated by the situation. "Just shut your mouth. That won't work anymore, you know." Contrary to her confidence, Taehyun slowly asked, "Are you sure about that?" The crystalline ice made the place even quieter, accompanied by the swirling mist. Airang's hair flowed in the air. Before she knew it, Taehyun had already passed right by her. Just like that, she collapsed heavily to the ground, caught off guard. Seeing Airang still fast asleep, Taehyun became a bit contemplative. He sighed, slowly reaching his hand toward her, but the result remained the same. "But honestly, you really are a tough opponent, Limarang," he said after the ice subsided. At the same time, the referee loudly announced that the third test had concluded. The winner of the third test is contestant number 920, Kim Taehyun. A while later, Jingui smiled and announced to Taehyun, "This is your reward, kid. You won this test. Congratulations on becoming a true S-rank awakened. I never thought the third test would end so simply. It's true, it's no coincidence that you were able to conquer the Apocalypse Double Dungeon." Picking up the items, Taehyun replied calmly, "That was just luck, sir." Right then, the man's face became strangely contemplative. He suddenly called out, grabbing Taehyun's attention, "Taehyun, after this test, do you have any plans to join the Korean Awakened Association?" This sudden invitation left him unable to react. While he was still thinking, Jingui quickly pressed, "What do you think about joining our Awakened organization?" His expression was completely resolute as he spoke. Afterward, he turned to look at the reward placed on the table. It was true that so many things had changed. Even though he had many achievements from participating in this association exam, truthfully speaking, he still wasn't enough. He didn't have the strength to be a top-tier player yet, but they had invited him to join the association as an official member. To be fair, if he joined the organization, he would have many opportunities to grow and receive a lot of support from the association. But there was also a catch: joining the association would restrict his activities significantly. Finally, Taehyun reached out and grabbed the cup of hot tea on the table. Without a moment's hesitation, he loudly announced, "I respectfully decline your offer." This statement left Jingui feeling completely incredulous. "Why would you refuse like that?" "The reason you're doing this is..." Taehyun interrupted. "Actually, the reason is quite simple, nothing special. Instead of joining an association or organization, even if I get help from the organizations behind them, my actions would be heavily restricted. Therefore, I think I should operate as a solo player. Actions speak louder than words. I appreciate the invite, but I can't join you." Hearing Taehyun's response, Jinhui wore a very strange smile. It was as if he'd turned into a completely different person, laughing uncontrollably until his laughter echoed throughout the room, though Taehyun didn't seem to care much once he felt more at ease. He sat down slowly. "I really didn't think you'd say that. You want to work alone instead of joining the association's organization because you want to be free. To act on your own, you're certainly very confident. That's a good thing, so I have a suggestion. Instead of joining the association, you could..." Hearing this, he tilted his head and looked ahead. "You mean..." Jinhui's face became even stranger. He slowly explained his plan. "How about joining the tournament for Asia's Top Awakened? What do you say?" Jinhui's expression even showed a hint of anticipation toward Taehyun's reaction. Images of monsters constantly roaring appeared, all of them effortlessly dealt with by Taehyun. He turned his head to look at the results of his own work. When Taehyun turned his attention back, the monsters around the area had all been taken down. It seemed the battle was over. This is just an Asian tournament after all, but the requirements are quite a hassle. To explain what Taehyun just said, the All-Asia Awakened Tournament allows each country to send 5 representatives nominated by the Awakened Guilds of that country. In this competition, Awakened compete for points by taking down monsters, but before entering the competition, they must be selected by the national guilds. To be selected as a representative, an Awakened must defeat a certain amount of monsters, in short, contribute to the peace of that nation. It's simply known as an Awakened's merit value. Taehyun suddenly remembered Jinhui's advice. "Taehyun, I think you're an S-rank Awakened with real potential. The National Awakened Management Association will choose you as someone worth investing in and training." He felt a massive headache coming on. He makes it sound so simple. But no matter what, I've only just become an Awakened and only recently reached S-rank. To contribute enough to the country, or in other words, to raise my merit value, is not that simple. Other Awakened have spent years accumulating enough to reach that point. Now, if I want to make major contributions, I have to take down many more high-level, powerful monsters, but as I know, the dungeons discovered in Korea over the last month are few and far between. Even if I try my best to clear those dungeons, my merit value still won't be enough. And those dungeons might not even have the high-level monsters that bring in as many contribution points as I need, so even though it's a bit dangerous, I have no choice but to go there. And so Taehyun slowly walked forward. There was no other way. The scene shifted to a vast villa. A cup was thrown to the floor and shattered. The man was furious, lashing out at those around him. Seeing this, his subordinates quickly tried to intervene. "Chairman, please calm down." But it seemed Young-soo couldn't take it anymore. "Calm down! You tell me the successor to the Tisan Corporation is beaten to the point of hospitalization, and that S-rank scum of an enemy is still out there free and unpunished, and you're telling me to calm down." In just a few basic moves, the bodyguard was completely taken down. Just then, a secretary stepped in from behind to report, "Sir, there is a guest here from the infamous Awakened Association." Young-soo heard this puzzled. "Infamous? Those bastards, after taking a pile of my money from our contract, they still couldn't handle. Some punk awakened who just hit S-rank, and now they show up, they must have a death wish. Fine, I'll meet them personally." The space around them suddenly distorted in a strange way. At the same time, the figure of a strange man slowly stepped out. "Regarding what happened to your son, I am very sorry about that. But let's put that aside for now, sir. That little brat is after all just a newly awakened S-rank talent. He's no obstacle at all." Young-soo looked on stunned by the stranger. He slowly walked forward, announcing, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Chairman. I am the Vice President of the Infamous Guild. I am Night Demon." This man was the Vice President of the Infamous Guild, Night Demon the rank. The scene shifted to another location. A spatial portal opened. Taehyun quickly cleared the dungeon. Suddenly a voice rang out, grabbing his attention. "Welcome, awakened Kim Taehyun." The scene shifted to a large high-rise building below. At that spot, a man was still holding a sign. Although a bit nervous, he said loudly, "I will be your guide, Mr. Kim Taehyun, to the auction area. I am an A-rank awakened from the Alchemist Guild." On the sign, the words, "Welcome S-rank awakened Kim Taehyun," were clearly written. He didn't seem to care much and continued introducing himself. "I'm Park Gun-woo. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm an A-rank awakener, and I've been hired by the Kim Guild to guide you to the auction for the spatial gate control skill." His voice echoed incessantly throughout the area. "Ever since I saw your amazing performance during the Awakener certification exam, I've been a huge fan of yours. Could you please give me an autograph?" This made him feel a bit awkward. Kim Tae-hyun, an S-rank awakener and a key member of the Kim Guild, was here at this high-end auction house. It is the largest in Asia, Dawn, and it's quite unique. It's the biggest in Asia, offering the rarest high-end items with safe and convenient transactions for all clients. Furthermore, the Dawn auction house offers many other amenities and advantages. Naturally, the part that clients care about most is Gun-woo proudly boasted about the security for their clients. Taehyun didn't know what to say. Was he really going to write it on his forehead? The announcer's voice echoed as he kept introducing the details. When clients participate in the auction at Dawn, there is always someone assigned to guide them. Because the location of the spatial gate leading to the auction house is always changing, you wouldn't be able to find it without a guide. That is why for the past 15 years, the auction house has always been a reliable destination for our VIP clients. Taehyun was surprised, thinking to himself, "It's true that the transaction fees are high, but it's quite safe and secure for the clients." Still, though, a strange smile appeared on his face. Taehyun felt incredibly intrigued as he looked at the space in front of him. Today, right here, the auction house will be hit by an attack from a powerful S-rank demon a short while from now. The presenter's voice rang out. It has finally appeared. The most important key item in today's auction is called the Phoenix Elixir. Whoever consumes this potion will immediately increase their magic power by 20 points. Observing everything from behind, Taehyun silently thought, "I came here specifically to wait for that demon. Although it's dangerous if I can take down that S-rank demon, the merit points for an awakener will increase significantly. But the information I have is still too vague. The news I read in my past life after the incident only told me that the Dawn auction house suffered a major attack from a demon that caused massive damage. The culprit is the S-rank demon Narendra Nero, but during this attack, who was the one who stepped in to stop and defeat it?" Taehyun quickly waved his hand. Gun-woo, can I ask you something?" He hurriedly ran over to catch up. His face was full of curiosity. "Who is the awakener in charge of everyone's safety here today?" This situation startled him a bit. "Why are you asking about that?" Taehyun quickly explained. "I'm just curious about my own safety here, that's all." Gun-woo quickly tried to recall, about that." Suddenly a loud laugh echoed, drawing the attention of both of them. Who could it be, I wonder? At the same time, a group of people slowly moved forward. The 12th Awakener of South Korea, the youngest Awakener with the highest rank in the association. This situation forced everyone around to step aside to both sides. A man with long hair slowly walked toward them. He forced a friendly smile and greeted him. "Are you the Awakener Kim Taehyun?" His true identity is Ryo Hayasaka, an S-rank awakener from Japan, the one responsible for the safety of the Dawn auction house. Looking at this face, Tae-hyun quickly realized, so it's him. Gunwoo nodded hurriedly. Yes, he is the awakener responsible for the safety of the auction house today. However, you need to be careful. He is a demon who will do anything for his own benefit, even killing his own teammates. The other awakeners call him the Demon Sword. Just then, Ryo Hayasaka reached out his hand toward Tae-hyun, saying, I didn't expect to meet one of South Korea's top young awakeners here today. It's such an honor for me, isn't it, Kim Tae-hyun? Looking at his outstretched hand, Tae-hyun became lost in thought, hesitating over whether he should shake it or not. His left hand, perhaps, but out of common courtesy, he still reached out to shake it. As their arms touched, there seemed to be a change. Tae-hyun felt the pressure Ryo Hayasaka was exerting on his body. His expression gradually began to change. Ryo Hayasaka, standing opposite him, remained incredibly smug. It seemed he was very interested in the scene that just unfolded. I didn't think you would be able to withstand this pressure. Not bad for a young, potential-filled awakener from South Korea. This caused Tae-hyun to go straight into a fighting stance. This bastard! He wants to right now! A sound from behind echoed, drawing his attention. It seemed the others couldn't handle this situation anymore. We can't breathe. Tae-hyun looked surprised at their miserable state. This isn't good. If it continues like this, they'll get dragged into it. As if reading his thoughts, Ryo Hayasaka smiled and continued, My apologies, please excuse me. It seems I might have gone a bit too far with you, Kim Tae-hyun. After all, you've only just reached S-rank. But suddenly his grip loosened, and before anyone knew it, he had closed the distance to Tae-hyun even further, those voices still whispering right into his ear. I should let you know, kid, that just because someone is S-rank doesn't mean everyone's strength is the same, you little brat. You came here today. I don't know what your goal is, but you'd better watch your step and know your place, or I'll throw you out of this auction house myself. The kid felt he'd had enough. Ryohei started backing away, saying, That's enough for now. Goodbye, kid. Hope you have a pleasant auction. Wan Wong, feeling a bit worried, spoke up and asked, Are you all right? The constant echoing laughter made Tae-hyun extremely uncomfortable. Ryohei Isaka things here had now become far more complicated and unpredictable than he had anticipated. It's become much more complex with more variables than I ever imagined. On a beautiful morning at the large building, a group of tall, imposing figures suddenly appeared. Standing opposite them was an even stranger-looking group, causing people to whisper, Where the hell did those bastards come from? Do they think they can just walk in here like they own the place? How can they just walk around so freely? The old man, hearing the situation, quickly warned his teammates, There's no need to get into the details. It looks like they want to head straight to the management office. The teleportation gate is open. But not just anyone can enter this place. Anyone who sets foot in here without permission will face my punishment. This audio content is produced by VB.VN. The other awakened step back. Keep your guard up. Let me an A-rank awakened handle them. His teammates nodded in agreement. Understood. Very quickly, the sky turned late into the evening and the scene was in complete chaos. By the time everyone from earlier had been dealt with, the monster was still relentlessly attacking the poor man while that strange old man right beside him kept mumbling, Sin becomes divinity. The heavens will forgive you. That old man was Narendra Nero, an S-rank awakened of unknown origin. Just then, a subordinate hurried over to report. Sir, the situation is a bit complicated. An unexpected person has appeared at the auction house, the rising Korean S-rank player Kim Tae-hyun. He's at the auction house. This is something we didn't account for. So what should our next move be? He remained silent, listening to everything up to that point. Narendra then spoke up, annoyed, warning them, It's fine. That bastard is nothing but a hollow reputation. Don't you worry. As long as I am here, he is just a name and nothing more. The subordinates froze in silence upon hearing this. Meanwhile, the old man's voice grew irritated. No one can escape the divine punishment of the gods. This audio content is produced by VB.VN. Everything was peaceful until a building in the city suddenly exploded. The scene shifted to a press conference taking place as usual, but just a few seconds later, this place completely blew up. 1 second, everyone was still laughing and having fun, but then the explosion happened, leaving everyone present in total shock. Utterly bewildered, and it wasn't just that one explosion. Another bomb went off, then another, turning the place into chaos. Gunwoo rushed over, frantic. It's bad, Kim Tae-hyun. The situation is spiraling. We need to get out of the auction house and reach a safe zone now. Everything happened so fast that even Tae-hyun was frozen. He never expected the attack to be this sudden. Explosions were going off everywhere in the auction house. But this feels like more than just a terrorist attack. The Esther-rank demon my target hasn't even shown up yet, but the priority now is... His thoughts were cut off by endless screaming. Spare me! Masked men suddenly swarmed the place. Don't just kill the innocent people. Everyone stand still. Drop all your valuables on the ground right now. Any bastard who resists dies. No sooner had he finished speaking than his head went flying into the air. It seemed Tae-hyun couldn't take it anymore, and took him out on the spot. This left Gun-woo standing nearby feeling incredibly anxious. Oh, Kim Tae-hyun! At the same time, Tae-hyun spoke up. Hey, Park Gun-woo, it's too dangerous here. Report this to the Awakened Association immediately. Tell them to send reinforcements right away. I'll stay here and handle this personally. In his hand, he held the blood-slaying blade and S-rank sword, the reward Kim Tae-hyun earned from the South Korean Awakened competition. Elsewhere, people were still trying to fight back, staring at the masked men with growing despair. Who are you people? These are just items brought for auction. Acting like this? You'll be punished by the International Association, the masked leader said coldly. Kill them all. And so both sides clashed and more innocent people started losing their lives. Finally, the leader walked over to the pile of items prepared nearby. His hand reached out to examine the goods in front of him. He seemed very pleased with the spoils he'd acquired. Found it. What the masked leader held in his hand was the Blood Phoenix, a unique rank item. Using it increases magic power and strength by 20 points, which made him ecstatic. He thought to himself, so this is the item Mr. Narendra Nero wanted to get from this auction. Looking at its effects, it truly is terrifying. For high-ranking Awakened, it's almost impossible to increase their power anymore, yet with just this, one can reach a whole new level of strength. Now I just need to head back and deliver this. He had barely thought that when a terrifying explosion erupted right there. The bodies of the poor victims lay still on the ground, not moving. That situation left him deeply confused. A subordinate rushed over to report, Sir Daiki, we're under attack. We still haven't been able to identify who is attacking us. Identify the attacker. Realizing something was wrong, the subordinate was startled, but within mere seconds he was taken out. This left Daiki and the rest of his cohorts on high alert. But then, the number of his men being taken out kept increasing. Daiki's eyes widened in panic, but by the time he realized what was happening, it was too late. He used a stealth skill. Struck repeatedly, he screamed in agony, You bastard! Daiki's hand slowly reached forward and chains suddenly appeared in midair, pinning Tae-hyun's body tight. Before he could react, Daiki seemed very confident in his binding skill. In just a short moment, he had completely chained Tae-hyun in midair. He even shouted, cursing, You think you can just hide and attack me like that? You're dead now, you piece of trash. After a moment of silence, Tae-hyun sighed. You think you can control me just by binding me with some light chains? Then you really need to think again. He looked at the poor victims left behind, the others still crying and begging for their lives. It reminded Tae-hyun of the monsters. Appearing here. At the same time, the scene shifted to the auction house's portal management office. Seeing the monsters gathered there, Narendra was extremely satisfied. Everything is going much more smoothly than I thought. It seems the summoning will proceed without a hitch. Now I just need to get the Blood Phoenix. Just as he said that, a subordinate ran over reporting, Sir, we've found the Blood Phoenix. The Daikin side contacted us back immediately, but they're having some issues right now. He was surprised to hear that asking issues something happened. Strange sounds kept coming through the radio. Then Tae-hyun's familiar voice followed. You're Narendra Nero, aren't you? The audio content was produced by VB.VN. Realizing someone had discovered his actions, Narendra was caught completely off guard. He suddenly shouted, You bastard! Who are you to interfere with my business? Tae-hyun laughed at this. You're asking me who I am? He looked at Daiki's pathetic state. It seemed he was getting ready to wipe out the intruders here. I'm the one who took the Phoenix blood from your hands. If you want to get it back, come and find me right now. I'll be waiting for you right here. You filthy S-rank scumbag. Narendra was in despair, cursing non-stop. You bastard, if you dare touch my stuff, you're dead. The corpses of the poor victims still lay scattered all over the ground. Tae-hyun slowly drank the vials of Phoenix blood in his hand. He felt his body reviving, and his condition stabilized. The system kept popping up notifications. Stamina increased, mana increased. This excited Tae-hyun as he looked at the items in his hands. The Phoenix blood really is something else. Its effects are truly incomparable. Back in the dungeon, even after wearing the imposter's ring, my stats didn't go up this much. Now that I've finished this bottle of Phoenix blood, that bastard is here. He's got nothing left to steal. Just then, the footsteps of Ryohei approached the scene. He and his men slowly observed the surroundings. Before his eyes was a space filled with corpses. One of his subordinates looked confused. Looking around, is there really no one left alive? The other one hurriedly replied, right here. A call was made to the security team's headquarters earlier, but now that we're down here, why is everything like this? The culprit who did this has already escaped. At this, Ryohei laughed in surprise. What are you talking about? Are you even paying attention? The subordinate looked blankly. Sir. He looked at the scene before him with a smug grin. The culprit who caused all this is standing right in front of us. Hey, I know you're here. Show yourself, Kim Taehyun. Hearing his words, Taehyun slowly stepped out. Wow, I clearly used my stealth skill. And yet you still managed to spot me. Impressive. This time, both sides faced each other directly. Ryohei wasn't afraid at all and questioned him, Stop beating around the bush. What is a newly promoted S-rank like you doing lurking around here, huh? You're the one who caused this mess, right? Hearing this, Taehyun suddenly found it ridiculous. What are you even saying? You're the head of security for this Dawn auction house. Why are you asking me terrorists attacked this place? They attacked the guests and murdered them. Where were you when that happened, huh? He said these incredibly strange words. Of course I have my reasons. You don't need to understand. These few things made Taehyun extremely annoyed. Not wanting to waste any more time, he sighed and walked forward. I see. No wonder. I already thought it was quite strange. There were so many high-level guards here with people watching every corner before the terrorists attacked. And then so many bombs went off in various spots all over the auction hall. My guess is, of course, to plant all those bombs in those positions. That someone had to be here. Exactly. Right as the terrorists attacked, the bombs went off. A perfectly timed coincidence, isn't it? You really know how to get the job done. Not bad for a veteran S-rank, an insider helping them while being the head of security. Nobody would ever suspect that. The skin on Ryohei's face began to fade away. You're pretty smart, but you can be an idiot too. I told you before, if you're smart, you'd behave and not bother me. Did you forget? Everything happened in the blink of an eye. He had completely vanished from Taehyun's sight. Without a moment's hesitation, Taehyun grabbed his weapon on high alert. This was it. The two of them were now going head-to-head. A look of sheer surprise crossed the guy's face. Hand over the item you took right now, he demanded. Taehyun didn't back down either, letting out a laugh. That's funny. If you're so good, come down here, beat me, and take it back yourself. The clash between these two extraordinary powerhouses left the subordinates on the sidelines frozen, just watching. The very atmosphere of the room began to shift in a bizarre way. Cracks were ripping through everything in the area, shredding it to pieces. Even the sturdy metal crates were sliced apart and sent flying into the air. The sight terrified Ryohei's henchmen. This is bad. We need to retreat now. We can't interfere when two S-rankers are clashing. Besides, everyone knows who Ryohei is and how ruthless his reputation is. If we stay here, we're as good as dead. He's even killed his own comrades who fought and died by his side. Meanwhile, Taehyun was still playing a game of cat and mouse with Ryohei. However, the guy's combat power was immense, forcing Taehyun to stay cautious. His fighting style, it's a bit different from what I expected. His way of attacking and counterattacking is pretty unique. I rely on my instincts and the flow of the situation to make my moves, but he relies on anticipation and the sounds of movement to adapt and react. The guy wasn't playing around either. He could track Taehyun's movements and immediately calculate the perfect counter. Suddenly, he swung a decisive slash forward. Habitually, Taehyun turned his head, startled, to check the situation. Seizing the opening, Ryohei swung down with everything he had, not hesitating for a second. Finally, a wound appeared on his body. Even so, Taehyun forced himself to retreat, keeping a safe distance. Even though they were both S-rankers with similar movement skills, true combat experience made a real difference in their skill levels. But wait, why did his subordinates suddenly start looking up there? Taehyun didn't care about the small fry around him and kept on attacking, not even needing to use Predator just yet. Up there, Taehyun doesn't even care about those pathetic little punks surrounding him, and he keeps on attacking without even needing to use his Predator ability yet. Perhaps it was the sheer force of his power that caused the henchmen to suddenly fly up into the air. Taehyun's fingers pointed toward the ground, maintaining control. The environment shifted instantly to a terrifying degree. Screams erupted non-stop. Ryohei's lackeys were finally feeling the pain. Realizing something was wrong, Taehyun turned his head in surprise. The ghost blade Isaka Ryohei, where did he go? At the same moment, Ryohei's laughter rang out, catching his attention. Kid, you've got some decent combat skills. Even if you're good at hiding in terrain like this, with so many obstacles, I can just rely on the sound to pinpoint where you are. Now you've shown yourself right in front of me. Consider this a return gift for what you did earlier. Take this ghost blade heart piercer. A massive bone-crushing slash came raining down from above, aimed straight at his head. Taehyun braced himself for impact. Elsewhere, the two masked men were still on guard as usual when a massive explosion erupted. Taehyun's silhouette appeared from behind. Before they could even notice, this golden light tore through different rooms with debris constantly being lifted into the air by the sheer shockwave. Finally, Ryohei slammed Taehyun's body down into the ground. But then, realizing something wasn't right, the guy went blank. What? How? How were you able to lock my ghost blade? Looking at the scene, Taehyun let out a surprised laugh. That's right. Even if we're both S-rank, there's a gap in our skill levels. The guy realized Taehyun's plan and grew furious. You bastard! Ryohei thought to himself. Just now, when he attacked the small fries earlier and revealed himself, it wasn't to escape. He had intentionally shown himself to bait me into attacking him. He had already prepared this light chain skill back then. Once I attacked, he locked down all my movements so I couldn't escape. Not wasting a second, Taehyun continued to control the chains on his hands. Now where are you going to run? The guy's entire body was being held tight by the chains. Catching him off guard, Ryohei, blinded by rage, shouted insults. You bastard! How could you do this to me? Even so, the chains squeezed his body tight. It was clear Ryohei was no match for Taehyun at all. Taehyun threw a punch that sent him flying backward in agony. The scene was utterly catastrophic with everything smashed to pieces. Finally, Ryohei and all his men were bound up. They were terrified, having no idea what would happen next. Despair was written all over their faces, but Ryohei still seemed incredibly stubborn. Glaring at Taehyun, he kept spitting insults. You bastard Kim Taehyun! Seeing him in this state, Taehyun laughed with surprise. I didn't think a high-ranking S-rank player in Japan would end up becoming an accomplice to a bunch of thieves. Hearing this, Ryohei screamed in desperation, You bastard! It's all because of you that my plan failed! Taehyun didn't care one bit and stomped his foot hard against his face. Then Taehyun sent him flying away. You talk too much. Just accept your failure. Seeing this, the surrounding subordinates frantically called out, Sir Isaka Ryohei, are you okay? Not wasting any time, Taehyun followed up. If you're smart, tell me about that bastard Narendra Nero who's in charge here. If you talk, your sentence will be lighter. If not, that's fine too. The guilds have already been alerted to the news. They'll be arriving at this auction house soon. Of course, when the major awakened guilds from other countries rush here, then you just like that scum Narendra Nero leading them are going to die too. Hearing this, Ryohei suddenly laughs. You say they'll come to help. You're way too naive. That's right, you're just a rookie. His expression gradually changes. What are you talking about? The scene shifts to another location. A man's hurried footsteps echo as he runs over. The artificial voice from VB.VN announces the massive doors are quickly thrown open. This makes Jingui and his teammates turn around in surprise. Everyone is stunned, not understanding what's going on. At that moment, the man breathlessly shouts, Support teams! Why haven't we seen any support teams reach the Dawn Auction House yet? He is the rank 4 guild leader, guild master of Alchemist Guild Sang X. Sang X's voice is frantic, constantly reminding everyone, Do you have any idea? There are so many rare auction items at the auction house, and there are many VIP clients from Korea and other nations attending as well. If the awakened guilds don't arrive to support us quickly, the auction house won't be able to hold off these bandits. Hearing this, Jingui quickly speaks up to comfort him. Sir, please calm down for a moment. We are already aware of those things. When the terrorist attack took place, the warning had already spread to every guild. The guilds have prepared reinforcement troops. The leader of the support guilds is player Park Sung-jin, bringing along S-rank awakened individuals with formidable strength. But this only makes him even more anxious. Is that so? Right now, they haven't even departed to reinforce the auction house. If there are any issues, contact us and we will do our best to support them. Hearing this, he suddenly interrupts. That's not the problem. I don't know about other things, but the most serious issue hasn't been resolved yet. That is, there is no way to get to the auction house at all. This situation leaves him feeling utterly incredulous. What did you say? Tagok calmly steps forward to announce, Those bastards! They've prepared for this situation. When they attacked the auction house, they immediately moved to the control room for the teleportation gates. Right now, they have seized full control of all the gates. Because of that, all those gates have been locked down completely. Sweat drips down Sang X's face. The gates are already locked. He nods, reminding him, That's right, but you don't need to worry too much. Fortunately, there are still 2 S-rank players at the auction house right now. Isaka Ryohei and the newly promoted S-rank player Kim Tae-hyun, but he already possesses high-level strength. And the bandit side only has one boss, Narendra Nero, who is also S rank. The rest is just waiting until this side.
They construct a new gate connecting to the auction house, but I think by the time that happens, those two S-rank players there...
They will be able to hold the situation and buy us some time. The thing to do now is just wait for the technical team to fix the gate malfunction. Just then, a familiar voice Ions appears on the scene, but the opponent of those two players, that bastard Narendra Nero, he's not simple at all. She slowly walks out in front of everyone. Seeing her familiar silhouette makes everyone surprised. Player IU Ahyun, why are you here? The scene shifts back to Taehyun. He is still silently watching Ryohei. A very smug smile blooms on his face. Even so, you haven't thought about it, have you? Narendra Nero isn't simple. With his demon contract skill, you're going to die very quickly. Taehyun suddenly feels curious. Demon contract skill, you say? He continues to recount exactly like the name says. He can link to and summon demonic entities from the demon realm here. Depending on the number of sacrifices, he can summon demons of different levels. So do you think you can defeat him, when he already has such a high-level support skill? Hearing this, Taehyun seems to understand. You mean he's going to sacrifice items to the demon realm? A smug smile appears on his face. That's right, the demon realm of course desires souls most of all. And the sacrifice that you are wondering about it is... At the same time, Ahyun on this side has also informed everyone humans. These words make everyone freeze instantly. Sweat continuously pours down Jinggui's face. What did you say? Even Taguk can't believe the truth. So the number of content. Just like the low-level player at the auction house who could only scream in helplessness, these are the souls he can sacrifice to the demon realm to summon a high-tier demon. Furthermore, he's an S-rank player himself, and his subordinates are full of powerful high-level mercenary awakened ones. This is bad. He's going to capture all the hostages there now. They're going to be sacrificed. We need to move fast. This is something we never even considered, and though she really didn't want to admit it, she could only nod in agreement. Yeah, that's right. It looks like a catastrophic disaster is about to unfold at the Dawn auction house. Over there, Taehyun raises his fist high, shouting, "You bastard, how could you do something like this?" Are humans just sacrifices to you? Even though he looks terrifying, Izakario still feels incredibly smug, saying, "You may have beaten me, Kim Taehyun, but you won't stop Narendra's plan." Where's Nero? The outcome is already decided, just give up already. If you untie me now and kneel to beg for mercy, maybe I'll take you in as my subordinate, under my command. Otherwise, if you choose to fight against Narendra Nero, all you'll get is a soul doomed to be sacrificed to the demon realm. His laughter echoing endlessly. Through this space, it seems this place has truly met its doomsday. Outside the main hall, Narendra is still watching the hostages in front of him as his subordinates quickly step forward to report. Sir Narendra Nero, it seems Izakario has failed. We sent men to look for him but couldn't find a trace. Plus, the Blood Phoenix is missing along with him. What should we do now? Hearing the news. The old man didn't seem to care at all. Forget it. It seems there's an S-rank player here with some real power. But that little rat can't do anything to us. They're still just waiting for reinforcements from the guilds. But the gates are already closed. The old man's hand slowly extends forward and the bodies of the poor people are lifted into the air accompanied by desperate screams. Hands tighten around the throats of the poor women. Watching the scene before him, Narendra slowly declares, "As for that rat, if he doesn't show up, we'll just stick to the plan." Now the old man's hand slowly lowers, a smug smile appearing on Narendra's face. The demon realm is going to get some high-quality souls today. While he was still gloating, the atmosphere in the room shifted, and even the hostages were looking around in confusion. The power's out. The subordinates seeing this start cursing. What the hell? Why did the power cut out now? Didn't we take control? Didn't the bomb destroy the power plant already? It's pitch black, how can we see anything? And how are the machines supposed to run without power? It seems Narendra realized something was wrong. He stares in confusion at the scene before him. The sacrifices have vanished. What? Something's happening. Taking advantage of his distraction, Taehyun appears from behind, not hesitating to control his chains and lash out at him. He was only a short distance away from hitting him, but Narendra accidentally caught wind of the plan. Everything happened so fast. Narendra frantically turned to counter the chains, proving quite troublesome for him while a smug smile appeared on Taehyun's face. "I've got you now." Under his surprise attack, the old man faced a lot of trouble, until flames suddenly erupted under Narendra's control. Taehyun's eyes widened. Realizing something was wrong, the space suddenly lit up as the old man leaped into the air, unleashing sudden explosions toward him. After maintaining a safe distance, Taehyun wonderingly asks himself, there's a monster behind him. How can he be this strong? Seeing Taehyun's familiar figure, the people behind him become instantly incredulous. You're that S-rank awakened Kim Taehyun? Did you come to save us? Hurry up and untie us before those robbers come back in here. If you save us, we'll pay you. Before they could finish, Taehyun interrupted directly. Too much talking, I'm losing focus. As he glanced to the side, having sensed something was wrong, he realized that without him knowing, the monsters had completely swarmed the place. All of them were targeting Taehyun, seeing him as a common enemy. Their expressions turned vicious in just a short amount of time. Tears in the air suddenly appeared as Taehyun leaped into the void, completely breaking free from the encirclement, his hands slowly reaching forward. Taehyun's body soared high into the air. This situation left the monsters bewildered and confused, as if the monsters here had also realized that Taehyun was no ordinary opponent. This made them even more agitated, and unable to wait any longer, the monsters charged at Taehyun all at once. This turn of events felt unbelievable to him. Bang! A loud explosion echoed. Narendra stood to the side, smugly speaking, "What's wrong? Don't tell me you thought you'd already beaten me. You must know about my Devil's Contract skill, right? This skill summons monsters using sacrifices. Obviously, I can't summon any weak demonic creatures. Those monsters are all S-rank equivalent, and they've been further boosted by my skills. With my magic power shared among them, they have evolved into a much higher level of strength. Stronger, faster. In just a short amount of time, Taehyun was repeatedly overwhelmed by these monsters. Watching his desperate state only made Narendra more arrogant. You managed to take down that bastard Rio, and I'll give you credit for that. But against me, you're only going to fail." Seeing Taehyun being attacked by the monsters with their own eyes left the group stunned. The expressions on their faces gradually shifted. This isn't good. He's been taken down. I told him to save us first, but he didn't listen. Now we're suffering the consequences. If he had saved us, at least we'd have people here to help fight those monsters. Suddenly a voice rang out, "You're mistaken." The annoyed man turned his head. "What?" The man continued, "Look there. Thanks to him, the monsters aren't paying any attention to us anymore. He has drawn all their focus away. He's at a disadvantage, yet he hasn't run away. He's likely doing this to stall for time until other guilds arrive to save us." That analysis caused everyone to freeze instantly. It seemed they had finally realized Taehyun's true intentions, and the hostages that the old man had captured for sacrifice had all been set free by him. So his plan from the start was to intentionally attack and draw the monsters away so we could be safe. Now Taehyun had to fight the monsters while his body was covered in wounds. The attitudes on their faces had completely changed. I didn't understand that at all. "Hang in there, Kim Taehyun, we believe you can win." Suddenly chains lashed out toward the front. The monsters couldn't react and were surrounded by the chains controlled by Taehyun. Content produced by VB.VN. He was trying to find an opportunity to turn the tide. After a moment of silence, he suddenly shouted a signal to everyone. "All right, don't yell like that. The monsters are turning back toward us now." This situation made everyone feel truly incredulous. Narendra still didn't understand what was happening. "What?" Taehyun continued to stare at the remaining monsters appearing before him. "You damn monsters! No matter how strong you are, I'm going to take you all down. Come at me, all of you!" The hostages from before were now fully cheering him on. "Kim Taehyun, be careful." The scene unfolding before him felt like a play, causing Narendra to laugh out loud. What a real hero, huh? Suddenly, at this very moment, Taehyun should do something extremely confusing. Gopo is bagonu this battle will end us kun. You can do this. This made the old man startle, realizing something was wrong. A door opened from another direction. He turned his head in surprise. "What?" Looking at the figure of Gunwoo, Narendra asked himself, when did that bastard appear? Not wasting any time, he suddenly shouted, "Sorry to have kept you waiting. I'll do it right now." Turning back to a moment ago when Rio had been beaten to a pulp, the sight before him left Gunwoo frozen in an instant, content produced by VB.VN. He suddenly turned to question him. "Kim Taehyun? What is this?" Taehyun calmly explained. "They are part of that bastard Naru's group. They infiltrated the security team. I just took them down." Both of them walked while discussing the situation. "I didn't think it would turn into this after I was gone for just a little while. All right, now isn't the time to talk about that." At the same time, Taehyun informed him they've already seized the gate management room. That bastard is likely using the hostages to summon the monsters in there. The situation now is that we have to face both the monsters and the bandits. The bandits are simpler, But if we ignore the monsters, the hostages will be in danger. At worst, they'll all die. Listening to this, Gunwoo felt extremely worried. So what do we do now? Taehyun continued to remind him, now we need your skills. His voice stammered slightly as he controlled the portal. Me? You mean me? I know how to control the gates, but the tricky part is, I need to know their exact location to open them. Is that what you meant? Connecting the gates to call other guilds over? Yeah, looks like Taehyun has a new plan. Not exactly. My goal is to get rid of these monsters. He turned back, looking at him with a blank expression. The scene shifts to the present. Portals suddenly tear through the air in a flash of blue light, and the place begins to change in a strange way. Feeling the shift, the monsters present are thrown into total confusion, and one by one they start getting wiped out. Narendra freezes, witnessing the scene with his own eyes. What the hell is happening? Every single monster has been sucked into a completely different dimension. Seeing this, Gunwoo is left stunned for a moment. Just a while ago he said he'd open a portal to suck the monsters away. I was a bit skeptical, wondering if it would actually work. But now I'm a total believer. Now that the monsters are gone, it's just that bastard Nero left. I'm sure he can pull off a win. He's just clearing the way for everyone. While he's lost in thought, Taehyun turns back and shouts, "Hey, Park Gunwoo! Your job of opening the gate here is done. It's getting pretty dangerous for you here, so get everyone out of here fast." Those words leave him completely rattled. What are you talking about? I can fight too, you know. Taehyun gives a slight smile, turning back to reiterate that his part is finished. That bastard is an S-ranker too. It's going to be too much for you to handle, so just get out of here. At that same moment, Narendra drops to the ground, shifting into a combat stance. Taehyun realizes the situation at hand won't be easy to focus on while trying to take the guy down. I won't have time to protect you and the others. Remembering what he had done, the old man seethes with rage. Taehyun just flashes a grin, looking like he doesn't fear a single soul. Fine then, I heard you loud and clear. Come and get me. Listening to his instructions, Gunwoo doesn't know what else to do. With no other choice, he rallies everyone. Everyone follow me. Run this way. Seeing that everyone has evacuated, Taehyun lets out a sigh of relief. All right, looks like they've started to clear out. Now it's just me and that bastard left. And just like that, the chase between the two begins. Narendra is incredibly powerful, so Taehyun knows he's in for a rough time. The old man is still furious about everything that happened. Unable to contain his rage any longer, Narendra pursues him, hurling insults. You think you're pretty clever, huh? You think just because we're both S-ranks our power is the same. Let's see how you're going to hold up against me. Under his control, a flaming monster suddenly materializes. He directs it straight at Taehyun. A brat like you is definitely dying here today. Having no choice, Taehyun ducks, bracing himself into a defensive stance. A massive explosion echoes out, and the area becomes even more of a disaster zone. Even so, Narendra doesn't let up, continuing his tirade. So what if you saved those hostages? You might have sucked my monsters into those gates, but none of it is enough to defeat me. He slams his hand down toward the ground. Once again, the monsters in the area are summoned back by his hand. This battle will end with my victory. You dare challenge my patience and blaspheme against the divine, you're going to end up as my sacrifice. After those words, the monsters surge forward to attack again. Regaining his composure, Taehyun stands up and laughs, surprised. You old bastard, you sure talk a lot. Narendra Nero, you think it's going to be that easy to kill me? Think again. This situation made Narendra's eyes widen, and as his hands slowly moved forward, the very space around them underwent a bizarre transformation. He had summoned a monster under his own command, and seeing this, Narendra couldn't hide his disbelief. No way, the old man thought to himself, the kid's power. Is he only showing his full strength now? So he's been hiding his true power all along, huh? Suddenly, Narendra let out a strange, twisted laugh. It caught Taehyun's attention. The old man didn't seem afraid of what Taehyun was doing at all. On the contrary, he felt incredibly thrilled. Kim Taehyun, no matter how much you hide your strength, you'll still end up as a sacrifice for me. I'll make good use of that body of yours, you hear me, in this battle. Do you really think you're the only one hiding your power? Am I right, Taehyun? Hearing that, Taehyun turned his attention toward the sound. A voice from behind caught his attention. Oh no, the old man's henchmen were appearing right here. They were all screaming in sheer desperation. Ah, what's happening? Their bodies were all undergoing a bizarre, twisted change. Witnessing this, Taehyun was stunned, unable to believe his eyes. What's going on? Narendra didn't seem to care, constantly muttering incomprehensible words. Now all sacrifices shall be offered to the deity. Please, O Divine One. He was absorbing the blood of the entities in that place. His voice resonated slowly. "Grant aid to your disciple and punish those who disregard your faith." Taehyun's eyes widened in disbelief. At the same time, a blue healing light completely engulfed the space. Finally, under his control, an S-rank bone dragon appeared. Outside, everyone was still watching the building ahead. It had been quite a while since the incident, but dust and smoke kept rising into the air. Gunwoo led the townspeople to face off against Narendra's subordinates. His face showed a hint of helplessness as he announced to everyone, "Those bastards, the raiders, they aren't all dead yet. They were still waiting out here." But the masked men looked incredibly smug, chatting away. How did these people escape the leader's place? Something must have gone wrong over there. Whatever, they're just commoners anyway. We can easily handle them without any trouble. While they were still feeling confident, a shift occurred. This time, they all screamed in desperation, "What? What's happening to our bodies?" Everything happened so fast that Gunwoo couldn't believe it. The space shifted again, causing everyone to panic. What is this? What the hell is happening here? What was that massive shockwave? He hurriedly looked up, and at that moment, the figure of the bone dragon appeared in the air carrying Narendra as it relentlessly attacked Taehyun. Taehyun's body was sent into a free fall through the air, leaving him terrified. This only made Narendra laugh even louder, looking completely out of his mind. After all, when it comes to the power of a divine beast, a dragon is always something different, isn't it? Time seemed to stand still. Taehyun looked ahead in desperation. "This isn't good." He launched chains repeatedly, and simultaneously he used them to anchor himself firmly to the wall in front. The chains tightened, carrying Taehyun's hopes. Luckily, he was able to keep himself from plummeting to the ground. Taehyun quickly retreated to a safe distance. The sights he had just seen made his heart race uncontrollably. Because he had been fighting for so long, he felt absolutely exhausted. Just what is the power of this monster? The sight before him made Taehyun freeze. The bone dragon and Narendra were already chasing him. Before Taehyun could react, the massive figure of the bone dragon launched a direct attack. It seemed it was treating him as its prey, preparing to swallow him whole. Time felt frozen as massive explosions echoed repeatedly. Taehyun's battered body flew through the air, while an enraged Narendra rushed forward, shouting, "Die now, you stupid bastard!" Taehyun groaned in frustration. He stepped back, getting into a fighting stance. "You think having that dragon means you'll beat me?" He tried to use his remaining strength to strike at the massive bone dragon. Desperate sounds rang out as blue light began to emerge, and the bone dragon prepared to finish Taehyun off. Watching the situation unfold, he stood frozen, unable to react. Immediately after that, a massive explosion rocked the space. Debris flew through the air. Narendra rode the bone dragon, calmly looking at the scene before him, seemingly very satisfied. Well, I didn't think you could survive being attacked like that." Taehyun's exhausted body hung suspended in the air, surrounded by chains, but it looked like he was running out of steam as he panted heavily. Taehyun's body slowly fell. "Sian, you bastard. He's so strong, especially with those demons and the bone dragon he summoned. On paper, my S-rank power should be a match for his, but the gap between us feels massive. And yet, if he can sacrifice something to summon a bone dragon like that, there's gotta be a limitation to his power. Otherwise, he'd already be the undisputed king of S-rank. I need to find that weakness in his power and figure out a way to strike back fast." As I was lost in thought, Narendra's laughter boomed. He looked down at my miserable state with such smug satisfaction. "You pathetic worm daring to look down on a god. I've already figured out your little game, you know. You feel helpless because you can't beat me, so you're just biding your time waiting for me to slip up so you can find a weakness and counterattack, right? Yeah, I get it. You've got a sharp mind, I'll give you that. But do you really think you can make that plan a reality? Not when I've already seen right through it." The bone dragon spread its massive wings, soaring through the air with him riding on its back. It dove straight toward the building. Seeing things take a turn for the worse, Taehyun shouted in alarm. Meanwhile, Narendra had already targeted the innocent people trapped inside. Gunwung and the others were terrified, sensing the danger. The bone dragon swung its colossal tail, lashing out at the crowd. Chaos erupted. A deafening roar tore through the area as the building collapsed under the bone dragon's force. In a flash, everyone gathered at the headquarters. A woman screamed, trying to alert everyone, "Everyone, hurry!" The emergency gate connected to the Dawn auction house is finally open. Gather up, we need to get there now. The top priority is rescuing the hostages, but for now, only South Korea has managed to stabilize the gate. The mission was assigned to team leader Park Ji-sung, an experienced S-rank player, but even then, there were still countless dangers lurking impossible to predict. Hearing this, Sangjin spoke up calmly to reassure them. It's okay. We've already gathered some intel on the kidnappers there. I need to get there fast and save everyone. Everyone head to Dawn, let's move. These filthy demons are going to pay for what they've done today. After the Bone Dragon's attack, many injured people lay helplessly on the ground. Gunwong, despite being seriously wounded, struggled to keep watching what was unfolding. The sight before him left him stunned. In that critical moment, Taehyun had stepped in to shield everyone. Seeing him in such danger, he called out urgently, Taehyun. Taehyun gave everything he had to protect those innocent lives. Even with his energy completely drained, he still desperately tried to hold his ground against Narendra. Seeing this, Narendra laughed smugly. So this is your choice. If you're so determined to save everyone, then sacrifice yourself in the hellfire of my bone dragon. Gunwong, overcome with worry, shouted, Taehyun, run! Get out of here! You've already done more than enough. There's no need to push yourself this hard. If you go down, none of us are getting out of here anyway. So please just save yourself. Taehyun kept pushing himself. I have to keep going. Fighting that monster Narendra while he controls the bone dragon is impossible, just like I thought. I have to wait for his weakness to surface before I can turn the tables. Even though I'm on the defensive right now, the two powers are clashing head-on and neither side is backing down. Still, Taehyun's resolve only grew stronger. I can't give up. Everyone is still here and I have to protect them. I might be able to hold on a bit longer, but this isn't the best way. Find a better way quickly. How can I save them? Suddenly, a mysterious voice echoed. You seem like you need a little help. This left Taehyun confused as he turned his head. But all he saw was Gunwong still lying on the ground. The way he looked at him seemed strange. His face went blank. Sweat trickled down Taehyun's forehead. What was that voice? At that moment, a system notification chimed. Predator skill is being recalibrated. Predator rank has increased to A rank. Because you cannot yet control this new power, your body is overloaded, and this sudden surge of power is completely baffling. What on earth is happening to you, Taehyun? Then came the new notifications. Predator S. Predator S. S. His gaze began to change, and at the same time, over on his side, Narendra also sensed that something wasn't right. He looked over at Taehyun, dumbfounded. What in the world is going on over there? Suddenly, the space around them became more mysterious than ever. The system notification rang out, Predator SSS. Predator is at its maximum state. Your body is overloading. Taehyun's whole body felt like it was about to explode. He instinctively remembered the image of the god. So Predator has reached the highest level. Is that it? At this moment. Has the Emperor temporarily granted me this power? But right now, my body can't control this overwhelming force at all. I'm falling apart, and am I going to die like this? I gave it everything I had this time. But in the end, it's all reached its limit. Still, I can't just go down like this. Taehyun felt his body slowly sinking to the ground. Finally, he couldn't take it anymore. And just like that, poor Taehyun collapsed completely into a pool of bright red syrup. Everything happened so fast that even Narendra was confused. Has he really been defeated but before he fell? What the hell was that terrifying power? But either way, this is my victory. Perhaps he pushed his body's potential to the absolute limit. But in the end, he couldn't handle the power. His body exploded and he collapsed. He surely won't be able to stand up again. Thinking this, Narendra sighed and muttered to himself, In the end, even if you try as hard as you can to defy the gods when you face me, you still have to meet your death. Suddenly, the space began to show resistance. Just when Narendra thought he had won the battle, a change occurred. The look of confusion grew on his face as he turned his head. Without him even realizing when it happened, Taehyun had stood back up. Sensing something was wrong, he jerked his head around. The space had somehow been swallowed by a deep, bright red. Even the bone dragon sensed the terrifying aura and didn't stop shrieking. Only then did he look up ahead. What is this? The smile on Taehyun's face grew bizarre. A god? What do you, a holy god, mean to me? In just a few short sentences, he left Narendra stunned. He asked in a panic, You bastard! You aren't that lowlife Kim Taehyun! Who the hell are you? How could you possibly possess that kind of supreme power? This is impossible. Taehyun didn't care at all and slowly reached his hand forward. Why don't you go down to hell and ask that god you worship? You're going to die right now. Hearing this threat, Narendra's eyes widened. What? Before he could react, something streaked past him. It was all done with just a wave of Taehyun's hand. In an instant, he felt that something was wrong, but it was too late. This overwhelming power struck, shattering him completely while system notifications popped up. You have learned a new skill. Contract with the demon has been recorded. In a space as dark as ink, Taehyun stood still looking blankly into the space before him. This is where I was fighting that bastard Naru, isn't it? Suddenly, chains began lashing out. Before Taehyun could react, they had his body pinned tight. His face showed utter disbelief. What? At the same time, his own skills were backfiring, causing Taehyun to collapse in pain. In despair, he asked himself, skill stone skin, disabled. What is happening to me? A wave of pain coursed through his body, making Taehyun scream in desperation. His vision began to blur. How are my skills? Why does my body still hurt like this? While he was still wondering, a voice rang out from high above. Your stone skin skill, you say? How could you possibly call those skills your own? Taehyun was irritated and startled. Meanwhile, the figure of the monster before him slowly emerged. If I absorb someone with the potential of an awakener like you, it would be absolutely delicious, wouldn't it? Taehyun still didn't understand why he was meeting this monster here. Suddenly, the familiar white light of purification slowly appeared. He couldn't take it anymore and sat bolt upright. It turned out Taehyun had been hospitalized wearing a hospital gown. The scene from before made him a little worried. Was it a dream? There were no wounds. The hand he injured while fighting was still completely fine. What on earth is going on? Seeing Taehyun wake up from his long sleep, Sangjin smiled and walked over. Ah, you're finally awake, huh? That familiar figure made him realize quickly. It was the Awakener Park Sangjin. He smiled and asked, Do you want to eat something? The time that followed, delicious food was all set on the table. While eating comfortably and chatting happily, Sangjin said, This is the apartment that the association and the auction house prepared for you. Basically, this is just compensation and a reward for your help in handling that recent terrorist attack. Thanks to you, we were able to rescue all the hostages, and that S-rank fake awakener has finally faced justice. It was a massive terror incident, but thankfully because of you, many people managed to survive. You passed out after the battle, and a lot of your friends and family came to visit you, but they've all gone home now. Your family and your little brother were crying their eyes out, and the association director was pacing around looking incredibly worried the way he looked. I actually found it kind of funny considering the battle we just went through. Anyway, we've run all the health checks on you, so don't worry, you're perfectly fine. There aren't any lasting side effects at all. I was really worried you'd be affected by that demonic energy from when you were fighting that guy Neru, but everything turned out all right now that you've heard the whole story. Taehyun suddenly became lost in thought, but for some reason, I've completely forgotten everything that happened at the Dawn auction house back then. Even that bloody fight with Neru, what actually happened. What about my battle there? Hearing this, he suddenly spoke up. That really is beyond what I expected, causing Taehyun to look up in surprise. At the same time, Sangjin continued, Listening to you, I'm also curious about what exactly happened to you back then. Flashback to earlier. Gunwung stood frozen, staring at the scene before him. It was as if time had completely stopped at that spot, yet Taehyun remained standing firm. Despite being covered in wounds and clearly losing the fight against Neru, something had happened. Who was the one who took him down? I can't explain it at all. When I lost consciousness, the only other person at the scene was the Awakener Park Gunwung. Seeing him unresponsive, Gunwung called out in a panic, Taehyun, what's wrong? Say something. But the next sight made him freeze instantly. Taehyun looked like an entirely different person as he turned his head to look back at him. Gunwung's whole body trembled with pure terror and desperation. He suddenly coughed up a mouthful of bright red blood and collapsed hard onto the ground. Meanwhile, Taehyun's hands were slowly returning to normal, though his gaze remained strange. He looked down at Gunwung's body, judging him. Oh, defeated by just that one move. Well, I suppose that's enough. Now it's time to give this body back to him. After saying that, Taehyun slowly collapsed to the ground, sinking into a deep sleep, completely unaware of what had happened just a short while later. Sangjin rushed over quickly, catching Taehyun's battered body. Wake up, Taehyun, wake up! While everyone around him scrambled to clean up the area. Everyone moved fast and searched for the hostages over there. Looking at the condition of the hostages, they quickly reported that the captives were only slightly shaken up. It seemed they hadn't suffered any major injuries, but the monsters Neru had summoned were nowhere to be found, and that bastard himself had strangely vanished. Hearing this, Sangjin realized something. Looking at Kim Taehyun, he turned his head to look at the young man's sleeping face. The grim scene before him gave him a chill. What on earth happened to you here? Back in the present, Taehyun was still bewildered by everything he had just heard, while Sangjin continued to recount the whole story from when the hostages had finally calmed down. We asked them about the situation there. They couldn't really explain everything clearly, but they did say you defeated Neru before losing consciousness. Well, that makes sense. After all, they aren't awakeners, so there's a lot they wouldn't know. As for the player Park Gunwoong, he doesn't remember anything either, just like you. It's like some force wiped the memories of you two. I'm guessing this might be a side effect of coming into contact with Neru's demonic energy, but at least everything ended well. Regardless, congratulations and thank you so much. We're still investigating and studying the crime scene, so if I find anything else, I'll let you know later. Watching him leave the room, Taehyun focused on his thoughts. So it might be because I was affected by Neru's demonic energy then. Did I lose my memories from that moment? It sounds a bit ridiculous, I know, but I do remember that back then. My arm was shattered when I tried to use predation, right? I must have pushed myself way too hard using that skill to fight Naru. Suddenly, a system notification popped up in front of my eyes. Devil Contract Rank B. Can summon a devil by connecting to the devil realm. Mana cost 200. This whole situation left Taehyun completely bewildered. What the? He thought to himself. Is this Naru's skill? Did I absorb it after defeating him with predation? It only takes 200 mana to activate it here. It's a bit different than before he needed a sacrifice, but I only have 180 mana right now, so, as if remembering something. Sangjin turned around and called out, "Hey, Kim Taehyun, you've got a visitor." He didn't forget to flash a strange smirk either. Hearing that someone was visiting left Taehyun feeling extremely skeptical. Airang quickly walked in holding a basket of fruit. Before Taehyun could even react, she laughed teasingly. "Since you've got company, I'll be heading out now." Without a hint of hesitation, she thrust the fruit basket toward him and said, "I came to check on you." Lim Arang S-Rank awakened a rank player. The scene shifts to the vast city where Taehyun is staying, but the delicious food is still sitting untouched on the table. A second later, the fruit basket was slammed down hard. This whole scene left Taehyun completely speechless. Arang didn't care at all and got straight to the point. "I heard you got hurt. Fighting those hijackers, but seeing you now, you look fine, don't you think?" He quickly nodded, explaining, "I was only slightly injured. Overall, my health is normal. It hasn't affected me at all." She picked up an apple, inspecting it. "During this terrorist attack, I heard you saved a lot of hostages and took down a pretty strong monster, right?" Her question sounded more like an interrogation, leaving Taehyun utterly confused. "Well, that's, somewhat true." Arang's face remained twisted in annoyance, her hand trembling as she squeezed the apple. "I heard you even faced 2 S-Rank awakened there, didn't you?" Her strange behavior made him feel like it was unbelievable. "No, I can't take this anymore." She suddenly crushed the apple in her hand. "I know you're talented, but don't go around thinking you're the best. I'll train hard and catch up to your level soon enough." Seeing this, Taehyun was at a loss for words. "Why did you even come here anyway?" Hearing that, Airang hurriedly turned her head the other way. "I came to visit you, that's why." This situation had Taehyun thinking, "I'm so exhausted by her. Should I call security?" Meanwhile, thinking about everything he had done made her incredibly angry. "Kim Taehyun, I was so worried about whether you were badly hurt. They said that terrorist incident was massive and involved so many awakened, that's why I came to see you. But looking at you now, you're perfectly fine. Moreover, the powerful aura coming off him is even stronger than before. I don't understand what changed for him during that attack. If I think back to when we faced each other during the trial, he's definitely progressed a lot more now. The gap between us just keeps getting wider." Just thinking about that made Airang's face flush red. "Hey, Kim Taehyun, how could you just—" Before she could finish her sentence, a sound came from outside. Curious, both of them turned their heads in surprise as strange noises echoed repeatedly from outside. At the same time, the familiar silhouette of a woman slowly walked inside. This situation left Taehyun completely baffled. Why is she here? Even Airang couldn't believe her eyes. "Huh." She quickly called out, "Ah Hyung." The woman slowly stepped inside. Seeing the two of them there, left her looking very puzzled. "Huh, Lim Arang." Meanwhile, Airang stood up immediately, reacting, "Why are you here? How did you get into Kim Taehyun's house? The password on the door? How did you know it?" Ah Hyung sighed, looking a bit helpless. "Can you stop calling me Ani?" As for that, this house was provided by the Awakened Association for him. They were the ones who gave me the password. Hearing this, both of them froze. A smug smile spread across her face as she quickly lunged forward, grabbing Taehyun's arm. Everything happened so fast that Airang couldn't even react. "What the—" Meanwhile, she held on to Taehyun without hesitation. Seeing this, Arang rushed over, shouting, "What do you think you're doing?" Hearing that, she laughed in surprise. "What do I think I'm doing?" She laughed in surprise upon hearing that, asking, "Planning on doing something? I don't get why when I came here, I'd find 2 S-Rankers chatting away happily in the same house. I can't quite figure out the relationship between these two. Seeing these women together is just plain bizarre. It left him speechless. What? What are you saying? Ah Hyung turned bright red and stammered, "Stop it. That's impossible. That's a crime. He's still a minor." Tae-hyun couldn't take it anymore. He shoved Ah Hyung's hand away. "Cut it out." He turned his head away, looking annoyed. "What now?" Tae-hyun kept pressing, "Let's end this little joke right here, you Asian player. What even brings you here? If you're here to get me to join your guild, I've already said no." Seeing his intense reaction, Ah Hyung felt a bit disappointed. "Still the same as when we first met, huh? You're as rude as ever. I just came to check on you, don't read too much into it. I even brought you a gift." He suddenly became incredibly curious about the outcome. She nodded and kept walking forward. "Right, I heard from the association president that you're training to boost your power. To join the Asian Awakened Championship, right? It's true that you did a great job rescuing people and defeating those two Awakened at the Dawn auction house. But looking at the rankings, you're still only 30th. If you want to climb into the top 5 to represent the team, you're obviously going to need to work a lot harder to rack up more points." Ah Hyung stepped closer to Tae-hyun. "That's why I brought you a gift." Tae-hyun still couldn't grasp what this woman was really up to. She continued announcing, "The rights to clear the Fire God Temple dungeon, you know that, right?" Sometime later, the scene shifts to late at night. Looking at the situation ahead, the group began whispering to each other. "So that's the Dawn auction house. Yeah, just looking at it, you can see how completely wrecked it is. After that attack by the Awakened, and a few more explosions, it's safe to say it's almost completely leveled." Hearing this news, the Night Demon quickly asked, "So after the attack, does anyone know if that guy Naru is dead or alive?" His subordinate, hearing this, nervously explained, "We still can't confirm anything about him yet." "This is a serious matter, of course, but should we report it to the boss?" He suddenly interrupted. "No need. We can keep the situation under control. The goal of attacking the auction house has already been achieved. Whether that Naru guy is dead or gone doesn't matter. We only hired him to do a job anyway." Still, his eyes looked slightly annoyed as he glanced to the side. A large ship appeared in the middle of the area. Along with an alarm, a voice shouted, "Freeze! You're all surrounded! This is a restricted area. Only the Awakened Patrol Team is allowed here. If you know what's good for you, drop your weapons and surrender now." The man had barely finished speaking when a massive wave slammed straight into his face. Suddenly, the entire ship was flipped upside down into the water. Everything happened so fast, the man couldn't even process what had happened. What? Such a huge ship sunk in the blink of an eye. Feeling deeply annoyed, the Night Demon sighed and spoke up. "After this, I've been keeping a close eye on that Awakened." Kim Tae-hyun. "No." Ki.